Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the Hearthstone Global Games here at Gamescom. I'm so excited to have you all here. The players playing today have taken out 44 other teams to get here. And what you see are 4 of the best teams of Hearthstone players from all around the world. So to explain how we got here today and to take you through the action a little bit later on, let's hand it over to Raven and Sottle.
Thanks a lot, Rachel. I am joined, of course, by Sottle, as always, and we'll just break down exactly how we got to this point. This has been weeks and weeks and weeks of play by these players. And, you know, what was the main sticking point for you, really, that made these 4 teams get hit?
Oh, there's been so much. Like 15 weeks of action, like you said, and we've seen some of the real titans going into it really fall by the wayside unexpectedly. We saw Russia go down. We saw Germany go down. There's been fantastic underdog stories as well. Bulgaria, Philippines, perhaps making it a lot further than expected. When you come down to this lineup of 4 teams that we have remaining, though, Czech Republic, Ukraine, South Korea, and the USA, how many of those do you think would have been considered favorites going into this, Raven?
Yeah, I think all of them. We can see we started with a total of 48 countries all spread across the world, and we can see now as those countries round by round got whittled down to these 4. And honestly, you know, we were talking before about these top 4, like, you know, are there any underdog stories or anything crazy that went on? Actually, just some really good players won a lot of Hearthstone and got to this point. But now we have Ukraine, Czech Republic, South Korea, and USA are going to be battling it out to be basically named the best country of Hearthstone.
Traversing the middle of the map like a star-studded belt there in the end. I'm very pleased, just thematically, with how that all lined up as a nice horizontal streak.
Yeah, that's why UK didn't perform too well. We didn't really want to break the line. You just got to keep it cooking, okay? So, yeah, you know, those are the 4 teams we do have now. And this is what the bracket is going to look like. Me and Sottle are going to be bringing you South Korea versus Ukraine to kick off. Don't start. To kick off the tournament, and then we'll be moving on to Czech Republic and United States after. The winner of each match will go into the finals, which is going to be tomorrow, still here at Gamescom. I'm very excited.
Yeah, I am too, and this is an incredible matchup with, you know, 2 different stories between the teams, really. South Korea really came into this. I don't think they've really proven themselves just yet, so this is their first chance to really knock off one of the big boys in this first match that we're coming up into.
Yeah, and we're almost ready to get into the first series, but before we do, we're going to go back with Rachel so she can introduce the 2 teams.
Almost ready we are, guys. It is just about time to kick off our first match of the day. As they said, it's going to be Ukraine versus South Korea. So let's get to know these 2 teams a little better with this video.
My name is Alexander Miles. You might know me under the name Colento. I play Hearthstone professionally.
Hello, my name is Kranich. I'm from South Korea. I'm one of the representatives for this Team South Korea in Hearthstone Global Games. So I think Team Ukraine is probably the best team in these global finals.
We have an upper hand against Korea. In the upcoming match, it can go still both ways in Hearthstone.
They just play game well. They just understand games and like they know how to win. They all have great skills.
I have Kranich in there. Again, he beat me at BlizzCon 2014. I know he's a good player.
I think currently he's a great player. He's good at game, but he's kind of arrogant and he thinks that he's the best. Representing my country means a lot to me because in Korea, people really cares about international tournaments.
I can say I'm like a patriot. It's just esport isn't like as recognized in the world as any other competition. I don't think. Know when you should take risks. It's all about odds. Calculated what you will lose to when you win.
You have a lot of ways to beat your opponent in card games. I think being creative is kind of crucial. I'll do my best to get the first place.
It'll be nice if you win, I guess.
You've seen where they came from. Now let's bring them out onto the stage. Please welcome teams from South Korea and Ukraine. Now, Kranich, Kolento, I've seen you guys play Hearthstone a lot over the years, but this format is incredibly different. Kranich, I want to know what it has been like working with your teammates to make the best plays to get yourselves here today.
Well, this format is kind of new to me because like most of the tournaments were in individuals, but like I have to discuss with my teammates and I really trust them. So yeah, I really enjoyed playing these tournaments.
Well, we saw online that you guys actually made the effort to get together in person and prepare for this tournament, to play the games that got you here. So do you think that experience is going to put you ahead of some of these other teams who are meeting for the first time together today?
Well, probably the players in Team South Korea is not really well known, but like I think we are really supportive and we can just play together really well. So we'll see.
We shall see. Thank you, Kranich. Now, speaking of well-known players, you've got a stack of them over on your team. Kolento, I know this has been a little bit different for you as well. What has it been like playing as a group like this?
It was much easier than competing by myself. Those guys are doing a lot of stuff I'm not best at, like tracking the hand. So I just can concentrate on like making plays and thinking about what to do.
Yeah, you told me yesterday that you feel very confident in the performance of your team. What makes you so confident? Just that you've brought so many different skills together?
Confident? I just feel like we have an edge since it's very difficult for me to find a weak spot in our preparation. That's it.
Fantastic. I cannot wait to see, gentlemen, how this match plays out. So without further ado, please shake hands and take your seats. I'm going to give it back to you guys at the casting desk.
Thanks a lot, Rachel. We are almost ready to go. I'm looking forward to this one. South Korea versus Ukraine. South Korea was my team. I picked all the way back before the tournament even started. I'm going to mention this as often as they are still in the tournament, which will be till the finals tomorrow.
I'll never hear the end of it if South Korea actually take this one down. But yeah, I loved hearing from the players a little bit. Kolento is a very strange character for me because he's one of the most confident players that you'll ever see in Hearthstone, but also one of the most understated. He manages to kind of big himself up a little bit and talk about how good he is, but never to the extreme. He's always one step short of really going in.
He insinuates a lot with a very few words.
Correct.
Is what he does extremely well. We can see the players from each team now. So just having a quick look at South Korea. Obviously, we just had words from Kranich there, but Handsome Guy, one of the most impressive players in the world last year at HCT. He dominated that format of APAC, sorry. And then his teammates are going to be Dione, who's a huge streamer and a very strong player. And then Flurry, who's one of the players who impressed me the most last year at Asia Pacific at HCT as well.
Yeah, there's really not anyone in the world that can mess with Handsome Guy's record in their home region. No. You can bring up the argument of how the snowball effect of winning one season really pushes you forward into the next, but he is one of the most dominant players in the world. Now we see some of the match history, how South Korea got here. And I touched on the point just before we came into this that maybe, even though you're happy that they made it here, maybe they had the easiest route through of the people that are here, because no huge names in their Phase 1 group really standing out there. Phase 2, their biggest test was the Netherlands, and that's a test that they did not pass, losing that game 2-3. Again, Malaysia and Mexico, not to take anything away from them in the single elimination rounds, but not the huge favorites that some of the other teams have had to beat to get here. So maybe we can say this is the first huge test for your pick, South Korea.
You just can't let it go, can you? You can't just let me have my pick. There's always going to be a reason.
Definitely not.
I think South Korea have done it extremely well, and they have come up against some big teams. Malaysia, Philippines, all pulled it out the bag this event. I think a lot more than a lot of people thought they would.
Yep.
So I think South Korea are looking strong, but no doubt Ukraine is a dominant force in Hearthstone.
Right. I mean, this is the other side of the coin. There were Germany in their group, Czech Republic in their initial group, Philippines, who you said performed above expectations as well. They were in that opening group as well. Phase 2, okay, maybe again, they had a little bit of an easy ride through, but then they passed the test that South Korea failed, vanquishing the Netherlands to qualify for today.
Yeah, but Greece beat Ukraine and South Korea beat Greece. So that means South Korea is better than Ukraine,
we're doing
right?
transitive property, Raven.
Yeah,
Let's go.
That's
All
how
right.
it works, isn't
Okay,
it?
yeah,
I'm sure it is.
All right.
But yeah, those are the roads of the two teams and how they got here. And it was a lot of work, and I think a lot of evolution of how they even approach the teamwork in itself. We saw a lot of teams kind of struggle with communication as well. If you've ever tried playing Hearthstone with 3 other friends,
it's hard.
Just shouting at you,
Yeah.
it's like, no, do this, no, do this. It can get very, very difficult indeed.
Yeah, and it's worth touching on. You can see the players who are the pilots for their individual decks are coming up to sit at the desk and play head-to-head. They are on comms with the other 3 players sat at the desk behind them. So this will, as throughout the Hearthstone Global Games, it has been, be a full collaborative effort between all 4 players at all times.
Yeah, there is all the pressure on the one pilot, but it is 4v4. Now we can see how these players are going to line up and what classes they have chosen. If you caught Hearthstone Global Games beforehand, this will look very, very similar to what you've seen before. The big difference is we've gone from best of 5 to best of 7. This means that every single player on the team will play at least once. But how does the rest of the format look, Sol?
Yeah, I mean, it just means a simple matter now of getting to 4 games instead of 3. It means, as you said, there is no hiding someone as the ace player where they don't have to play. Everyone is going to have to play their part. And once a repeated player steps back up, they must play the other deck they have allocated themselves, not the one they played the first time around. So it also means we potentially see some more class diversity. And that's very interesting to me because Knights of the Frozen Throne has not come along with a rotation. So it means that the existing decks that we saw before are actually still very powerful in a lot of cases. Jade Druid, Murloc Paladin, these kind of decks are still having a lot of success. You cannot just rely on those crutches to get you all the way through a best of 7. You're going to have to find a rogue deck, a hunter deck, a warlock deck. Some of the lesser played classes find a way to win with those.
Well, what already sticks out to me, and this is no graphical error, Handsome Guy is playing back-to-back. He's going 4th and 5th, and he's playing Warrior and Warlock. So if he locks Warrior in for his 4th game, then he has to play Warlock 5th guaranteed, unless they 4-0 Ukraine, which is unlikely. So that means that Handsome Guy is happy playing Warlock in almost guaranteed fashion in this series.
Yes, but final bit of housekeeping. As you can see, our opening game is going to be Flurry versus Kalento, and it's going to be a matchup that if you've played any Knights of the Frozen Throne, you're going to be a little bit familiar with, the Druid Mirror.
Yes, we sort of deliberated as to what we thought would be opened with in this tournament, and we guessed Druid versus Druid because it is just the most powerful class at the moment. In almost any instance you run it, even Show at the moment is extremely high legend playing aggro Druid, for example. So, there's aggro Druid, there's Jade Druid, there's, Druid, which is just any deck with Ultimate Infestation in, and that normally gets the job done at the moment, at least.
Yeah, I mean, the class is incredibly powerful. There's no way around it. It is still early days, and the metagame isn't fully settled yet. We saw, what was it, almost like 6 weeks to 2 months before Evolve Shaman really started becoming a major force in the Angora metagame. But for now, there is no way around it. Malfurion is king, and Ultimate Infestation has just pushed Jade Druid to pretty ridiculous levels of power.
Yeah, one thing I will say is, I've had to play Jade Druid for research purposes.
You've had to.
Yeah, I was forced
Gun to your head, play this
exactly.
deck.
The mirror, unless, one player draws terribly and the other one draws well, the mirror is actually very interesting because you end up doing really strange fights for the board a lot of the time. And, Spreading Plague is actually kind of huge because your opponent can have 10-10s across the board, but then they can still only line up a single attack, and you can block them out for that one turn. Maybe then work on some damage like double swipes, wraths to clear the board, try and generate some Jades of your own. So as long as you can roughly keep up on the Jade count, the matchup can be very, back and forth, I find. As soon as someone clears the board, it's all about, well, can you then clear the board or at least even it up.
Right, I think, and we're assuming it's going to be a mirror. It might not be,
Jade Mirror,
but I will go down this path that you have led me towards, because I would agree we are most likely to see a Jade Druid mirror. I think the important thing in the matchup is kind of the mediocre cards in the matchup getting usage out of them, right? Like Primordial Drake is not a great card in the matchup.
If it's even in the deck.
If it's even in the deck, right. And Spreading Plague, again, is kind of an awkward card to use a lot of the time. Sometimes you're just playing it for 2 or 3 1/5s, when, as you said, there's a 7/7, 8/8, 9/9 on the other side of the board. So you do kind of have to find a way to just stretch a little bit of extra value straight away. Now, as we're getting into the game, we can see that Flurry is going for a very tech-heavy build, or South Korea, I should say, are going for a very tech-heavy build of this deck. Already, we see a Doomsayer and a Spellbreaker, perhaps suggesting he's gone big game Hunter in there as well, which is something that we're seeing quite popular on ladder.
Yeah, we are kicking off game one of, as we mentioned, the Druid Mirror. South Korea versus Ukraine, the first game here at Gamescom. Hearthstone Global Games, and yeah, I completely agree. The Doomsayer list from, I think I've been playing the most of Purple's list with Naturalized as well.
Right. Yeah.
Like, Doomsayers are actually pretty good because it's another one. Spreading Plague Doomsayer. It doesn't matter if your opponent's got massive Jades if they can't get to the Doomsayer, right? You clear the board, then you gain the tempo. But then we'll see how this plans out here. Crypt Lord, not exactly a standard pick here from Team Ukraine either.
Right. We saw Druid of the Swarm in the opening hand from Kalento, and we are yet to see any Jade cards. So his deck does go a little bit unidentified so far. Still multiple possibilities of what's going on with his build, at least.
Yeah, looking at this is, you know, the more and more we see the draw here from Team Ukraine, is that this looks like Pheno's sort of token Druid, I guess it's called. But they're Pheno Druid pretty much, so there we go. Yeah, we're likely to see the Stone Shell that will buff all the taunts in the deck when they're on the board, of course, and then we're more likely to see Medivh as well, because Medivh coupled with Ultimate Infestation gets truly ridiculous.
And I've actually played quite a lot of this matchup from the side of the mid-rangey Druid, the more token-based Mark of the Lotus deck, if you want to look at it that way. And I've had huge success against Jade Druid, but it's off the back of one particular card that I don't really see anyone else running, and that is Violet Teacher, because that thing goes nuts way too early that Druid is able to deal with a 5 health minion a lot of the time, especially if you're able to ramp into it. So we'll see whether a Kalento's build is more towards token generation, or is it more that late game Pheno list that you were talking about?
Yeah, and we see something we've not really mentioned. We've mentioned Knights of the Frozen Throne, and it is centered around each class getting a Death Knight form to a large extent, and we can see Malfurion the Pestilent there in South Korea's hand. And each hero basically has access to a transformation effect similar to Draxus, and it gives them a new hero power, a live effect as well, and they are very, very powerful. But what I will say, I don't know if it's shadowed by the fact of how powerful Druid is, but Malfurion feels like the strongest one in general.
Very, very possibly, yeah. I mean, the initial spawn effect is nuts, choosing between Poison or the 1/5 taunts, and then the hero power that you end up with is just so ridiculous in any situation, not to mention when you just bring Fandral into play, and then you're getting the best of both worlds from your hero power. Fandral, of course, changed to now your choose one effects.
Yeah.
You get both options, not just from a card.
Yeah, now we're going to see how this Doomsayer usage is going to play out here from South Korea, because they probably have a bit of an idea that it's not Jade at this point.
Right.
It's very odd to get this far where you don't see it.
And it's a point I want to touch on, because there was kind of, you could call it an overreaction to double Wrath down a Crypt Lord on their turn 4. They didn't really have anything else to do, but they could have chosen to cycle those Wraths and leave that thing around. That, again, is another nod towards saying, well, okay, if I leave that there, then he can start buffing that Taunt minion up. On turn 4, that's one of the expected plays. Then he can hide tokens behind it, play Mark of the Lotus. So just giving full respect to that Crypt Lord.
Or just Crazed Alchemist it and punch you in the face for a million.
Now we're in aggro Druid territory, and I'm pretty sure you know this is an aggro Druid that you're playing against
really
South Korea.
Slow aggro.
Yeah, maybe the hand is just living mana, Bitter Tide Hydra. I think that's what they've
Alchemist.
got. Right, yeah.
Done. Let's see South Korea here, just coin the Jade Behemoth out and just start stacking these Jades up. Both players haven't really got off to the explosive start that I believe, you know, Druid is just more and more known for at the moment. Everyone that has played has probably witnessed the whole ramp, ultimate infestation, go, refill the hand. And we've seen both players not really get into that, although Kalento and Team Ukraine now do have Nourish plus Innovate as well. There's ultimate infestation 1 and 2. And Malfurion. So pretty swiftly here, Ukraine has got access to all the tools required. And I think something that's pretty interesting is Nourish used for draw versus ramp.
Just wanted to make that point.
Yeah, because
very interesting to me.
Normally you just go ramp, because ultimate infestation is your draw. But the games you lose as Druid often are the ones where you like go ramp on Nourish, and ultimate infestation is bottom 3, bottom 5 cards or whatever.
Well, I think it was about this hand as well. Like if Ukraine could dig into their deck and see that their next 4 cards were 2 infestations, their Malfurion and an Innovate to just force that all out quickly, then yeah, they would have ramped. But if you look at the cards they had at the start of the turn, Swipe, Bone Met, 2 situational minions that require something getting into play to buff, 2 buff effects in Mark of the Lotus as well. They just needed to draw minions to get onto the board first. Ramping straight up to ultimate infestation wouldn't have got them anywhere.
Yeah, this will be really interesting from South Korea. I think personally that the Innovate into Fangela is just worth getting down. You could just use the
Malfurion.
sorry, Malfurion. You can use the poison spiders to like defend against whatever is played from Ukraine.
It's a great
but
point.
South Korea want to just hold on to the Innovate, and I wonder if just passing a turn after your opponent's just drawn effectively a full hand might just let, you know, Kalento just really get into this game now.
It's possible, but I imagine South Korea's thinking here is that, hey, it's only one turn that it speeds us up by. Ukraine just took a slow turn with the Nourish. We can afford to take a slow turn in return. We're ahead on the board right now, no need to panic. Then we can just play Malfurion on curve on 7 and save that Innovate, because Innovate is now a viable late game card.
Yes.
When you have the best 10 mana card in your deck, holding on to that Innovate to just rush out an ultimate infestation that you can draw over the next 2 or 3 turns can actually pay out big later on as well.
Now with the Malfurion and the Pestilent coming down from Team Ukraine first, gone for the taunts, the 1/5 normally, but with Mark of the Lotus buffed them to 2/6s. And the problem with this moment when you're against this style of Druid is those taunts have to die. Because if more buffs come down and more buffs come down, they start hitting you for 7 and you don't quite understand why, but they do. And then they get very, very difficult to remove. And, you know, points like this are why, you know, I mentioned earlier, Naturalize has actually been insane for me because, yeah, it gives your opponent draw, but most importantly, it gives you the opportunity to gain the board.
I think,
very easily.
Yeah, specifically very early on, like first week of the expansion, when everyone was just going nuts over Lich King.
Yes.
Like everyone was like, oh, Lich King's the new rag, it goes in every deck. At that point, yeah, when people are playing a slow 8 mana 8/8, you naturalize that thing and you move on with your life. Whether it's quite as necessary today, as the Lich King has got slightly less powerful, we will see, but still. Malfurion does come out, Poison Spiders, as you suspected. He's just going to innovate out the hero power here to deal with one of these 2/6s, and those 1/2s are a massive annoyance to Ukraine here because they want to strong shell this taunt minion. They want to jam their bone mare. They just want to make huge dudes and start beating away, and those Poison Spiders are just going to shut it all down.
Yeah, it's something I've seen way less than I thought is players going for the poison instead of the taunt.
They're so good.
Like the taunts are just good, right? They're almost always good to just hit taunt. If you just closed your eyes and picked one and got taunt, you're pretty much always happy.
Right.
But you need to look for these spots where it's like, well, realistically, how is he clearing these spiders? Like, double swipe, great. You know what I mean? Like, that's your whole turn, and then I go again.
This has kind of always been the story with Druid Choose One effects. I think it's often been correct to 10-5 Ancient of War more than people generally tend to. It's correct to charge Druid of the Claw more than people tend to do so. Same with this one. I think over time we'll see the top players, the players with the highest Druid win rates, probably going Poison Spiders slightly more often than we see from a mediocre Druid player.
Yeah, I think so. As you can see now, it kind of puts Team Ukraine in an awkward spot. It's like, well, what do they actually play now to get to these spiders? He can trade and then hero power 1 down, but 1 he's still going to survive, so he knows now that 4/3 taunt is dead. And that Stone Shell didn't really get the value I've seen it get before, at least.
Wow, jams a mark on it as well, trying to make sure that this 5/4 directly challenges the spider and doesn't just get taken out from the 3-attack hero power.
He buffs it to 5/4 to make sure it challenges the 1/2.
Yep.
You're like, that just doesn't make sense, but it kind of does.
It does.
Very, very
it makes a huge amount of sense because there is the 3-attack Malfurion hero power coming out here that would just slap that down. And really, as I mentioned, Ukraine and Kalento really want to start developing these power cards here. They want to have the Bone Mare tempo swing. They can't do those kind of plays when there's a poisonous minion hanging around on the board. So willing to give up a Mark of the Lotus to make it happen. Really, really inspired play, actually.
Yeah, really nice. But we see South Korea now has the answer. It could just swipe hero power and just say, well, you clearly couldn't deal with this spider this turn. Can you deal with it next turn? The only problem is, it does mean that there's no like real good follow-up here.
Yeah, they also couldn't deal with it when it was hidden behind taunt minions on the previous turn, so the other option would just be to go Spreading Plague and Jade Blossom and just fill out that way.
Yeah, I actually prefer this because I
do too.
I honestly believe against an opponent that's gonna try to go wide, the Spreading Plague into Doomsayer is almost a guaranteed Doomsayer. When you've seen Wrath be played, you've seen it needs Swipe Wrath to clear off, right?
Right.
Because your minion's literally 1-for-1 at most. So we'll see what happens. Another Bone Mare, though. Not looking too great. Ukraine doesn't even have the capability to play Power of the Wild for the Panther and then Bone Mare on top. So It's probably just going to be a hero power from Kolento, and I don't know, maybe generate both Panthers because you need something on the board. You're going to be drawing a ton of cards in a turn or two anyway.
Also, you literally just need to get cards out of your hand right now because you have to start jamming Ultimate Infestations on turn 10. It's your hand is just looking too weak right now if you're not able to do that. So that means getting yourself down below that 5 card mark so you don't end up overdrawing.
Yep. You know what happens a lot more now, speaking of drawing? Drawn games with Ultimate Infestation. You deal 5 to face, but overdraw and fatigue yourself. Yeah, that's happened to me. I've took the honorable way out and said, no, I'm going to lose, but you're not going to win.
I also saw you mess that up horribly on several occasions. Where you
nope, never happened. Don't know what
the armor was going to keep you alive at 0 health. You remember that one?
I think I actually miscounted the health.
Okay.
More than anything. But no one remembers that because it never happened. Swipe to face from Kolento and Team Ukraine.
That's what I'm saying. Just dumping cards. Just
you need
cards
the root,
out
right?
of the hand. Valuing the Power of the Wilds above the swipe. That's basically what that means. They're seeing these Power of the Wilds as a potential win condition. The swipe, not so much, but they recognize that they need space in their hand to make this happen.
It's one of the slowest Jades games I've ever seen. Like, this is quite late in the game now, and South Korea is on a 3-3 Jade, and now look at the way these... Look, actually, all 3 of them are kind of tech cards. Are actually kind of stuck in Flurry's hand now. Because Spreading Plague, although, yes, he could just play it for a singular 1-5 taunt, but it's just not good enough. You need to save it as a bounce-back mechanic with this Doomsayer, but then the Spellbreaker draw does nothing either. You're not just going to play a Spellbreaker when Silence is so valuable.
And here you see part of the reason why they chose to hold on to these Power of the Wilds as opposed to using the swipes is so they can make this play back-to-back twice if they want to, or on the turn after the Ultimate Infestation if it comes down to that. Play the Power of the Wild as a minion, buff it up into a 7/6, make sure they get value out of their Bone Mare, because cards like Power of the Wild, like Bone Mare, can get very easily stuck in your hand if you can't get a grip on the board, as Ukraine have not been able to this game. So their plan there was just to throw away the swipe and then set this play up for the following turn to carry them into their Infestation turn.
Bone Mare is insane.
Bone Mare is nuts, yeah. I picked this as my strongest card in the set
really?
before release, yeah.
I knew it was going to be strong. But I think the fact that it's a common is very good for newer players as well. They can just, it's just 2 commons to craft and then just put Bone Mare in every single deck you play.
Right.
It's going to get work done. It's literally that good.
I was expecting it to bring back Cairn a little bit early on, just because Cairn is like the stickiest thing that you can play on turn 6 to get the curve buff, but so far we haven't really seen that happen. Seen it experimented with in 1 or 2 Tempo Warrior decks, but hasn't really caught on so far.
Yeah, I think because Paladin has Spike Ridge.
Sure.
Cairn would fit Paladin very well, but it has Spike Ridge. And now we see the combination here of the Plague and the Doomsayer, and you can already see, like, that Doomsayer is pretty hard to kill, and this is something that happens in the Jade mirrors as well, is that it gets really awkward to actually get to most of the time.
And pay special attention to the timing of it as well. What have they blocked on the first possible turn where it could have come out?
I mean, he could still just go face with it.
He definitely could.
Yeah, he's going
if he just wants to draw the 5 and gain 5 armor, he's more than welcome to, and it looks like that is the decision that Ukraine come to in the end. Can't blame them. Will fill the hand up here and burn 1 card. If there's an Innovate to go along with that Crazed Alk, though, there isn't. Okay.
Crazed Alchemist is sick. Card is so good. I just played against it first, and I was like, oh, my Doomsayer's dead. That's annoying. And then next time I got hit for 13, I was like, oh, that's probably more annoying, actually.
Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay. But now we can see Kolento, as you said, sort of sacrifice the 5/5 ghoul, but when that 1 card does so much more than generate just a 5/5, you're okay with that. Look at the hand size difference. But now, into turn 10, into 10 mana for Flurry, Aya into Jade Spirit. That is going to start racking up these, to be honest, meager Jades we've seen so far in this game.
4/4 and 5/5, I believe, will come out with a 6/6 inside Aya at this point. So this is a massive board being generated by South Korea this turn. And yeah, you can say what you like about, hey, Ultimate Infestation is so wacky that even when the 5/5 gets lost to a Doomsayer, they decided to cast it anyway. But the power that comes out here from Flurry is he does choose to hold back and go Hero Power instead of the Jade Spirit. What do you make of this? This surprises me, Raven.
I think he's worried about Plague. It's something you have to be aware of. Plague, second Stone Shell, Plague, second buff, third buff.
Okay.
Like, that is... Because he has no way of dealing with it, right? If he plays to go equal, buffs them, so the trades aren't even with South Korea, then you fall behind. And look at the health total without that armor up. They're on 14. That's like 1 swing.
All right, but counterpoint, is the board South Korea have made competitive enough to just beat other hands, right? Like if Ukraine just go minion, 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 buff my board, is it good enough to beat that?
I would have played the Spirit,
Right.
but I think it's just, you just pick one, right? Your opponent's just drawn a full hand. They will have something to do that is probably slightly better than what you can represent on the board.
Right.
So you just choose the value of pressing that Druid hero power, the improved hero power every single turn. I think that's what they've gone for.
Oh boy. What did I say about Innovate still being powerful in the late game?
You said it would be.
Thank you, thank you.
There you
Yeah,
go.
story checks out.
Forgot, you said it would be.
Yeah.
It seems okay to me.
Oh, did they get him? Did they get him? 2 1/5 poisons are coming out here if they manage to get the animations through. Yep,
Okay.
they're all good.
Got it. And that is a realistic thing we've seen in global games so far. I mentioned it very briefly earlier, that with all of the communication that happens at the same time, we saw a lot of teams hit the rope and then actually just miss minions, miss attacks, miss lethal.
Right.
Happened more than once.
Yeah, and I think there was a few teams that we spoke to that very freely admitted they had moments in the qualifiers where the pilot of the deck, who was kind of trusted to be the the #1 player for that deck because they were the most comfortable, had moments where, look, everyone, shut up, let me think. Like,
Yep.
I've got this. Don't cloud my head with a bunch of different things. Just let me think this through. And that's actually a really important skill in team communications, is recognizing when too many cooks will spoil the broth, and when the one guy that you're trusting to pilot the deck should just take over.
It's like when we were playing that warrior list and there was just 2 of us and you kept telling me to shut up.
Dude, I can't think with you talking all the time. I just can't.
How do you cast?
I know. It's the,
Doesn't make
it's a
sense.
marvel. It's a marvel that I've made it this far.
That's true. Okay, well, Flurry does have the second Jade Spirit available now, so even though the hand size is small, Flurry will be wishing on an Ultimate Infestation Treefield hand, or even a Nourish. At least these are generation minions, right? They're actually just making the Jades hit the board pretty hard there, 6/6 and 7/7. As you can see, just a Spellbreaker in hand plus 1 draw, whereas Ukraine, cards don't normally glow blue, but when Fandrel's on the board, it makes everything happen. Nourish to draw even more of the deck. Got to watch out though now, because there are only 5 cards left, so it's definitely something to consider. But actually, this is tough. I'm going to rewind a little bit. This is where you get into a bit of a problem with drawing very heavily as Druid, is Kalento has to think, I need to finish the game with these cards, but if I overdo it in one go and he stabilizes once, I lose. So how far do I push that will end the game, but not lose me the game if there's an answer? It's actually a very, very difficult call.
I mean, the skill here is really turning every card that potentially does damage in your hand into damage, right? Like Bone Mare is potential damage, Power of the Wild is potential damage, you have your hero power to do the same thing, Crazed Alk can potentially be used for damage as well. If you can make all of those things just start to connect to base, then you probably get over the line, maybe with just that Ultimate Infestation being used for that final point of burst that you need. So Ukraine really have to find the most reasonable way to ration this out, and they do need to keep pushing face here, because eventually they will just exhaust the value in their deck, and Jade Druid will take over if they overtrade from this position.
Yeah, what I will say, there is 7 damage available next turn if Bone Mare lands a target. So Bone Mare plus hero power minimum is 7.
Yep.
And the whiff, quite frankly, there from Team South Korea on Innovate, well, don't need it, friend. Unfortunately, Flurry, you needed any card drawing. I mentioned earlier, you can actually play it, believe it or not, you can play as Druid and not draw Ultimate Infestation, and then this happens.
I have heard legends.
of these crazy games at rank 20, when you forgot to put it in your deck.
Yeah, just going back to the point you made, the Crazed Alchemist here actually represents more damage than the hero power coming through
true.
and flipping the 1/5. So Bone Mare and Crazed Alch is actually the max damage. And very, very intelligent attack from South
The
Korea.
respect of the Crazed Alchemist. That means he's only going to hit for 3 now, so it is equal with the hero, well, less with the hero power, because
It's
the hero
fair
power does an extra anyway, but this is just going to be too much. I mean, South Korea couldn't hold on, and turn after turn, without getting the draws that are needed to cycle deeper into the deck, it is going to be Kalento and Ukraine that take the game on.
And look at the difference, Raven. One Druid drew Ultimate Infestation, the other one did not. One Druid ended the game with 5 extra cards in their hand. The other Druid had an empty hand and an Innovate. That crystallizes perfectly for you how powerful that one individual card is.
Yep, completely agree. And I thought for a second then you were just explaining to me what Ultimate Infestation does. One player played Ultimate Infestation and drew 5 additional cards. It's like, yes, that's how the card works, but I do know what you mean.
Unlike some people, Raven, I have actual depth to my commentary.
No clue what you're talking about. Don't know anything about depth whatsoever. But yeah, that was the first game, and it's a tough one to call whether, it looks like Ukraine are, looking great. It's like, well, yes, they're 1-0 up in a best of 7, and the Druid mirror where one doesn't draw Ultimate Infestation, one doesn't even draw the Nourish to even just go a little bit deeper in the deck, then it's still all to play for. But starting off at 1-0 in the Druid mirror, it's a nice game to take a win with.
It is, and I mentioned right from the start that I've had a lot of success with the more mid-rangey Druids up against the Jade Druids, because you can create board states. I do really love using Violet Teacher in that deck, but even without the Violet Teacher, your ability to just Spreading Plague, Mark of the Lotus, Malfurion, generate your 1/5s, Mark of the Lotus, that board, along with buffing up your Taunt minions at any given time. Like, you can, if you build a board that has 3 or 4 6 health minions on it, that's so difficult for an opposing Druid to deal with. They kind of do have to resort to their own poisonous effects at that point coming back, or try and get value out of those kind of like Spellbreaker tech inclusions that we did see coming out from South Korea. Ended up to not be enough in the end.
Yeah, I think we're going to see, like, is it Webweave that creates the 2 poison spiders for 5 mana?
Apparently that card was, what was it, broken at 4 is what we were told?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. So that was an awesome game 1 between Ukraine and Team South Korea. And we're going to be ready with game 2 right after this, so don't go anywhere. We are getting ready to go for game number 2. the first semi-final of Hearthstone Global Games here at Gamescom. It is going to be Team Ukraine versus Team South Korea. It's going to be Nerea versus Kranich. It's going to be Shaman versus, what was the other class? Mage?
Yes, it was.
I just forgot. I'm going to be honest.
Mind blank.
I forgot the second class.
You just took one look and went, wait, neither of these players are playing Druid. I don't understand this metagame at all.
We were lied to. See the players getting ready there. As we mentioned before, just in case you don't know, as you can see, the teams in the background are in communication with the pilot. So you can see Nerea talking and having a bit of a laugh with the teammates. And I don't know what Dr. Hippie's doing, we can only guess, but...
I never know what Dr. Hippie's doing.
I just know it's funny no matter what it is.
Correct.
Dr. Hippie's actually hilarious. Comes off a little bit quiet sometimes, but once he opens up a little bit, it's a pretty funny guy.
I was trying to talk to him backstage, and he still was pretending he didn't speak English when I spoke to him.
He just doesn't like you.
Hippie, I've known you for over a year, and I speak English to you every time.
He's like, well, speak a different language.
Get good.
Try different.
Learn another language, you ignorant Englishman.
Well, I think that's pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
So we are going to go into game number 2, though. Currently, Team Ukraine are 1-0 up versus South Korea. Kranich on the Shaman and Nerea on the Mage. Already, this looks like at least some kind of freeze/Gunter Mage. Are we going to see Jaina? Fingers crossed. I think she's pretty cool. But we'll find out. So far, this looks very heavily like Freeze Mage, whereas Kranich looks like he's playing the Shaman cards, which are pretty good.
Yeah. The Jade package in Shaman turns out to just fit in pretty much any deck you want to play still, but we are now away from Druidstone. We're going to dig into kind of the fabled mid-tier of the current metagame. Both of these classes there or thereabouts, still struggling to react to exactly what they're supposed to do in the new metagame. Is Evolved Shaman supposed to play Thrall Deathseer, for example? Thank you very much, Kranich, for drawing that at a timely moment. Still, people are split on whether that card is good enough to make the cut, but for my position, it's backbreaking for the sake of one card in a deck that already fits that strategy. The deck is there. You can play 29 cards plus the Thrall Deathseer, and it fits the synergy so perfectly.
Yeah, as we mentioned, in the previous game about Malfurion, the Pestilent Thrall is obviously the Shaman version. In case you don't know what he does, he effectively is a 5-mana hero. He gains you 5 armor, which is fine. They all do that. Then double evolves the board on your end. So it's like playing Evolve twice in one card. And then also, and I think this is often overlooked, his hero power becomes you can target a minion to evolve.
Right.
And that sounds like, that sounds okay. It's insane. If one minion sticks, you trade, evolve, trade, evolve, trade, evolve. Because they never die.
Turn.
Yeah, they never die. And with the new giants in the game, you can actually keep evolving.
Oh, I don't know about that.
What?
Oh, you're talking about the
You can
one
keep
extra
evolving.
upgrade, right,
You can evolve one extra time because there's one more minion that costs more.
Scared as to where you were going with that one, Raven.
No, we're not playing giant.
Okay,
well,
good.
maybe a sea giant.
Going back to Thrall Deathseer though, one of the more powerful usage for it, from my perspective, is actually that early game evolve, which you were always a little bit sketchy about. Just, evolving 1 drops into 2 drops, 2 drops into 3 drops, whatever it was in the early game. Now you get the double evolve. That's so much more powerful to evolve a board of 1s and 2s into 3s and 4s. Whereas the Doppelgangster, getting that down and then Thrall Deathseering, 7s aren't that much better than 6s when you actually break down the stats, so that can be a wasted effect sometimes, but it does allow you to curve out into the most insane board states. If you get your Primal Fin totem down, your Firefly tokens, and then you just jam Thrall on curve, that can be backbreaking.
Yeah, it really is. I think players are still tough as to whether they like not having the totem hero power, right? Because you are then limited. If your board's cleared,
right.
I need to draw a minion.
Yeah, I mean, you're nerfing Flame Tongue Totem, you're nerfing Maelstrom Portal because you can't get spell damage anymore. There's so many cards in your deck that get a lot weaker because the deck is built from the ground up to take advantage of a token-generating hero power. So there is, of course, that downside, and it's a downside that a lot of people were very quick to point out when the card was announced. Many, many high-profile people in their card reviews actually said it was the weakest Death Knight because of that exact reason, that the totem hero power itself is too strong.
Must have forgot about Rexar.
Nowadays, everybody want to talk, and they got something to say.
Wow. Getting back to the game, though, that is actually happening in front of us. The Primal Fin Totem is down now, starting to generate those 1/1s for Kranich and Team South Korea, whereas Nerea is working out exactly how he needs to just control this board. At what point do you feel this Doomsayer has to come down? At what point can you hold on for maybe a Frost Nova? Nerea's actually just decided that he is just going to drop Doomsayer, ping, and say, This is actually pretty safe. Unless there's a devolve, the board is going to be empty next to him.
You see Naira there, just down the bottom, just communicating thought process with his team behind him over the next couple of turns, just making sure they know what's going on here. But I love the Doomsayer timing that they have come together and come out with, because it's resistant to Jade Lightning on curve.
Yep.
It's resistant to Flame Tongue Totem. Those are the two ways that Shaman kills a Doomsayer and nets tempo at the same time, and those are the games you lose. When they kill your Doomsayer and develop tempo at the same time, so hard to come back from. So this is perfect timing from Ukraine.
Yeah, it's definitely, you know, you need to clear the board once, I feel. Get a strong clear.
Only once?
No, so if you keep the board once, get a strong clear, and then keep something on the board yourself,
okay,
you can really start battling against Shaman, but it's when they just have that one answer and then just keep snowballing. Then the game's over. So many decks at the moment are built for like the greedy control meta game and trying to beat Druids, trying to beat Priests, for example, and, you know, trying to deal with stuff like that, that a lot of the time you just die by turn 5 or 6, especially when there's a Bloodlust involved.
Yep. Ukraine here just developing Acolyte of Pain behind this Doomsayer that does go off. South Korea did draw the Devolve, which of course is one of their perfect answers for a Doomsayer. It's also a very premium target in Acolyte of Pain to use Devolve on as well, especially when you are unable to otherwise stop it drawing multiple cards. They do have the Jade Lightning here. They also just have the option to live the dream and just slam a Doppelgangster this
Every
turn
day of the week.
and see if they can make it happen with Thrall next turn.
Every day of the week.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You on
Because-
board?
So the problem is, if you devolve, you negate the card draw, but then what you hero power. Great. That's not doing much. If you Jade Lightning, that's not bad, but the Jade's what, 2/2? You know, it's like, well, that's not doing much. You could end up with 2 2/2s on the board because you'd imagine Acolyte Pingle come down at minimum. That is possible next turn for Ukraine and Naira here. So if you have 2 of the Doppelgangsters survive, just slam Thrall and get cooking. Like, that is literally how you're going to win.
Still no secret drawn. Medivh's Valet not active in the hand, still not there.
What can he do?
Frostbolt ping.
Mana Worm does look like it is more of like the Gunter style as well, because normally a lot of freeze mages drop the Mana Worm, don't play, or, you know, the other mage deck is Quest Mage that we've not talked about, mainly because this just factually is Quest Mage, but they have also dropped Mana Worm.
There's hybrid style, right?
Yeah.
Which is what we saw from Zump, was one of the first people to really have big success with it at DreamHack Summer, I believe. Where it's basically Freeze Mage just with Mana Worms and Firelands Portals. Because you know what? Mana Worms and Firelands Portals are pretty damn good cards.
Sometimes you just go, this card's... It's what I was saying about Bone Mare earlier. Just put it in a deck if you can't build a, you know, a filled out sort of deck. Just put 2 Bone Mares in there. You'll probably be all right, because the card is just that good. And now Kranich has to decide, do I still want to think about Evolve? Can I do something else?
I don't like it.
He
One
did-
7 drop here. I'm not feeling it.
Yeah, I was just wondering how good the potential follow-up of having the hero power if it lives.
Well, I think what you can do here is actually use Maelstrom Portal and J-Claws #2 to actually get yourself a white board, and then, but for the cost of delaying 1 turn, you get yourself a huge threat of Thrall Deathseer coming down again.
Yeah, the slight problem now that South Korea is going to have is that every turn from this time on, there's more potential of Blizzard, of Flame Strike. To try and pull that off. So this is where Thrall actually gets a little bit tricky, and quite often I've seen Thrall on turn 10, and it's literally Doppelgangster Thrall,
Yeah, that's
go.
the play I don't like.
Yeah,
That's the one I really don't like to see. Sometimes it comes out of necessity, though, because you've been shut down up until that point.
It's because it will guarantee you stick some things to the board. That's why it's done. It's not done because it's like a cool power play. It's done because you have to do it.
Yeah, but if you look from South Korea's perspective here, you look at this position, you say, okay, Ukraine is your Blizzard turn. If you want to Blizzard this board to deny the Thrall, go for it. But then I redevelop with Doppelgangster and you have to AoE me again. So you're saying to Ukraine, you have to have back-to-back AoEs here over turn 6 and turn 7, which you are not odds on to have, otherwise we punish you with this Evolve effect. So I really like the line that Kranich and South Korea have taken here, all the way back to their turn 5 tempo Doppelgangster. I think that was a great risk
I like
to
that.
take.
I like that.
But now they're just consolidating back to more standard play in their position.
Fireball and a 2/2, and it's the right play. What world are we living in?
Let's go. It's Thrall time, baby. Oh, that draw, though, is enormous.
It's actually pretty nice.
Patch is still available, right?
Yep, 3 drops. That's 2 extra 3-drops and 1 extra damage because you hit with Patches first, of course. Oh, wait.
Oh, wait, does Patches die?
Patches is going to die!
No, it's when you play.
Okay.
When you play.
Woo!
When you play. Oh,
We're still learning the games with you guys. I believe it or not, I've not seen this interaction that often, so forgive us. But there we go. Patches did get the damage in, and here comes the evolve, or the double evolve. Let's see what's going down.
Ugh, that did not go well.
Pantry Spider.
He literally, okay, the blood cell.
Think about it.
The blood cell caster was far left and Patches was far right. He gained literally 1 stat on both of those minions combined.
Is there one on the far right called Blubber Baron?
It's just unlucky, Raven. I don't know what it's called.
I'm sure it's Blubber
I think it is
something.
Blubber Baron.
Someone tell me.
Yeah.
Blubber's just a great word. It's a great name of a
That is
bird.
not great overall, though. Like, Carry On Grub 2-5 for 3 is fine, but Pantry Spider is a low roll as well. That was not pretty on the front of South Korea. They could have expected a much higher average level of stats than what they ended up with.
Is that, guys, the non-durability loss one? It's not, right? Or is it the when minions die one?
Yeah, your weapon doesn't you lose durability, yeah. It's that guy.
Ah, well, you go 2 extra damage.
That's true. Yeah,
You know what I mean? You've got to look at it
It's
because the whole point, I know you like to talk about a lot, is the evolves and the effects, how powerful the effects of the minions, how common it is to get a minion with an effect. So, that is kind of 2 extra damage. Still keeps 2 charges on the weapon. Not terrible. But yes, by no means good was that double evolve. But what you've got to consider now, Thrall has 2 mana, evolve a target, and now he can make the grub a 4-drop. If he wants, for 2 mana.
Can. When that Blood Cell Corsair was drawn, though, it looked like the turn was going to be huge, potentially explosive. Neria did have the Flame Strike to deal with. The majority of 3s and 4s that would have come out in that scenario, Flame Strike was going to clear up anyway. So maybe you can flip it on your head and say, hey, South Korea got 1 5-health minion out of that. You can actually consider that a win in the world where Flame Strike is going to come down and clear the board.
Yeah, not too bad. At least there's something there. Fireflies now can fill out the board a little bit more, go wide again, because the problem, as we mentioned earlier, there is no normal Shaman hero power now. You can't go wide and say, well, my totems will get 3 damage each from Bloodlust.
Right.
Nope, that's it, you're done. You're going wide with the minions you've got in your deck, and that is it. So Firefly is not a bad draw in terms of going for that. It looks like there's gonna be Doppelgangster evolve, okay.
Interesting, the dynamic we're seeing. I'm just watching South Korea's camera just a little bit, and it looks like Kranich is shot calling, and there is just agreement or disagreement from the players behind him. That seems to be how it's working right now.
Yeah, I think as well it's good to note that, say we're playing and I am a mage specialist. I'm just not going to listen to you most of the time. Do you know what I mean? If Kranich has played a ton of this list and the others haven't, Kranich is probably like, you guys got no issue with this, right? And they're like, no, probably not. And he's like, okay.
We actually saw, though, on that note, Kranich, when we've seen him play in the Ngoro meta, was one of the very few players that didn't play Evolve Shaman. He just played aggro Shaman.
That's true. Him and RDU were the
Hammer
first,
of Twilight and that kind of list going on instead. So interesting to know exactly how much experience he does have with the Evolve mechanic. I'm sure it was tested extensively by him before he came to the conclusion that he preferred the more aggressive list.
Breath of Cinder goes to there. One of the new cards from Frozen Throne. It's deal 2 damage to a random enemy minion and freeze it. Not a groundbreaking card, but not bad versus aggro if you're playing a slower mage deck.
I mean, Holy Smite, Arcane Shot style cards, like, they are playable. You see them every now and again. This is that with an upside, except it can't go face.
Well,
so.
if you're building some kind of control mage and you want to shore up some weaknesses against aggro, well, that'll just buy you a turn of damage a lot of the time.
It depends a lot on the metagame as well, because what we're currently seeing is a very similar a similar style of aggressive meta to what we saw before, where the key minions that you have to deal with all have 3 health.
Yeah.
So suddenly Breath of Sindragosa will then have to be paired with a ping, and then it's just like a 3-mana Frostbolt, gets a little bit awkward. So, its time may come, but while the 3 health minion meta continues, a little bit less likely.
And the Frost Nova gone down. One of the actual original Doppelgangsters is dealt with. The Sabertooth just frozen there, but still stealth. It's one more Doppelgangster left, so I feel like Kranich is probably very, very tempted to just slam Evolve onto that one Doppelgangster that is actually going to go up a little bit. I think it's worth more than getting a 4-drop out of the Carrion, right?
Yeah, I wonder how much it's worth on Sabertooth Stalker as well. Just to, you'd say that's a 2 health 6-drop right now. I can make a big improvement on that potentially as well. But yeah, for me,
it is stealth though, and you've not seen AoE, right?
Yeah, the Doppelgangster is the prime target as always.
Okay.
That's 2/2 Ghoul guy, right? When one of your minion dies,
That is the exact name of that card. I'm very impressed. 2/2 Ghoul guy.
Necrotic Geist, Raven.
You only saw that because we
now?
could see it on the private spectator.
Oh, I actually didn't know. I swear to God, I didn't know that was there.
He's lying to you all. We got that told to us. But yes, it is 2/2 Ghoul guy is the unofficial name. Every time minion dies, 2/2. There you go.
Hey.
Good job, team. And our powers combined. Alexstrasza is now, well, has been in hand for an area, should I say. So there is, whenever Alexstrasza is actually drawn in a deck like this, your plans can change, right? Because you could say, well, I can put him to 15 health, armor, slightly different thing. But you know that's possible, so then you know what's left in your deck, and you can try and form plans around it. But it does look like Team Ukraine are potentially looking at just saying, actually, we could just burn him out of resources. He doesn't have the totem generation. If we just kill all the minions, he has to play minion, evolve it, play minion, evolve it. 2 doppelgangsters are gone. What else could even be left in the deck that high-value evolve targets?
And this is a great setup from Ukraine. Honestly, they are in the position here where their block is vulnerable. Their block is vulnerable to 4 or 5 damage, which means Flame Tongue, Jade Lightning, all those kind of cards can have a big impact. But if all of the mana this turn is committed by Kranich to just Burning Face, then Nyria can clear the board with the minions that he has and just Alexstrasza his own face, get right back to square one.
And have an 8/8 on the board. Pretty good. Imagine we're going to see an evolve on this Tiger, though. Far too vulnerable as an 8/2.
Here it comes. The block is going to go down. Ukraine are going to have to find a way to compete with this board state, which is why the Nesting Rock was a really nice pull there to get a very resilient minion to hit the board. But the Evolve hitting the Sabertooth means that the 2/3 no longer picks up a trade, and instead, that is a much harder minion to deal with, and that protects the rest of the board state, which is crucial with the threat of defensive Alexstrasza coming down from the other side.
Yeah. Lord of Tars. Not the player, the thing.
Lord of Trumpets.
That would be great. Imagine he's just holding a trumpet. But yeah, that's actually a huge roadblock here for Team Ukraine now, and suddenly, there's not a lot they can do about it. As you mentioned, the whole point was you clear the board, Alexstrasza yourself, so you don't get the backswing from South Korea, but as you can see, that isn't possible anymore. There's no Nova. There is an ice block, so there's a guaranteed next turn. Maybe this turn is, fireball the Tar Lord trade, play ice block, and just say, do your best to clear, and say my Alexstrasza turns next turn. But that is very, very worrying indeed, because now as well, this 4/4 Jade, if it's not cleaned up, can go into a 5-drop next turn with Transmute Spirit.
Not a huge amount of conversation that I can see going on in the background. Kalento's starting to get a little more animated now.
He's like, Nyria, you're losing.
Dr. Hippie was kind of talking step by step through the turn at the start there. It looked like Dr. Hippie is, of course, the Freeze Mage expert on the team. Yep. The very first thing we ever learned about Dr. Hippie is that he was the first player to reach Legend in an early season in 2016 using only Freeze Mage.
Yeah, and people who are good at Freeze Mage are just pretty good at life.
I was going to say, people that are good at Freeze Mage are terrible people.
Yeah, I respect Freeze Mage players. They're not to the level of Hunter players, but Freeze Mage players, they're all right. They're all right. They're good people.
Hunter players.
Bloodlust drawn now, moving swiftly on before this gets into a brawl itself, and not versus the Lich King, which is available here at Gamescom at this very place we are stood at. But Bloodlust is a bit of a problem now. There are enough minions on the board. Obviously, there's a good chunk of damage, but that Tar Lord does go down to 1 attack when it's Kranich's turn. You can just hit through all of this, prop the block, and say, well, what have you got this time?
Right.
Where do you throw Transmute Spirit here?
It's a very good question.
It's a tough call.
Tar Lord is a great minion in this position, so I think I'm leaving the Tar Lord around for as long as possible. 4 mana 4/4 into a 5-drop is not a huge upgrade a lot of the time, so maybe you're even just taking a 2 in this spot, as weird as that seems.
Is it a better upgrade than 1 to 2, though? That's my worry.
There are a ton of Battlecry minions at 5, and persistent effect minions that are actually very, very low on stats. Your average 5-drop is very, very weak.
Syndra Ghost there. The Dragon of the Lich King himself. So he did choose to go for the Tar Lord, now developed an 8/8, which again, you could say my odds on an 8-drop being strong is pretty high. and if it's strong, it means, well, the Self-Alexstrasza plan just gets blown out the water anyway.
Right, it's actually what I was just about to lead into. He's concerned about the power. No, I mean, it's a great point, you caught it. Credit where credit's due. He's scared of defensive Alexstrasza. They know now, Korea, that they've beaten the ice blocks.
Yep.
So the only defensive option left is that Alex. They want to make sure that they're not worried about the taunt protecting the board state that they have. They're just worried about turning what is essentially a 1-attack minion into a 7-8+ attack minion so they can threaten defensive Alexstrasza.
Just negate most of the damage that's done. You see the draws now going to come out with Arcane Intellect. Violence Ball, Frostbolt. Frostbolt can come down here to stop the Syndragosa, but that doesn't really solve the big problem, which is, well, there's other stuff on the board too. I'm not sure a full clear is even capable at this point, unless Violence goes into a taunt. Have you done the new numbers? Have you done the new Violence numbers?
I haven't, no.
Well, why do we even bother with you? Bolvar going to hit the board though, although one of my favorite legendaries in the expansion, not going to be good enough as it did not have taunt. And Kranich takes the win for Team South Korea. It's evened up now 1-1 between these two teams. Good high five going all around.
Yeah, they need it. You see now Dione stepping up to the plate. He will be responsible for driving the next game, but that is a big win. You do need to square the series up as early as possible. Don't want to be falling behind to too big a deficit, and we got through the Druid mirror. We saw some of the more mid-tier classes coming in, but I'm still interested as this series progresses. What are they going to do with the Warlocks, the Hunters of the world? Because these are going to be necessary classes to play at some point.
Yeah, and I think we're going to find out fairly soon as we're just getting to the point where we're running out of the, you know, like the very high-end classes. And I see my boy Nick Chipper. And pretty sure, yeah, there you go. He's going to be rocking the Hunter next up versus Dione, and Dione's going to be on the Paladin. And just, you know, while we just prep this a little bit, what do you actually think of the Mage pick? It feels like everyone has been playing Quest Mage, and is Quest Mage just overall better than the, you know, Gunter style Mage, I'll call it? But
I don't think so. I think we lived in a meta game very early on where you broke it down early. You said Druid came along. Druid got very greedy to beat the other Druids. Then the other decks got very greedy to go alongside those Jade Druids. And then the ultimate greedy deck is Quest Mage. You can't get more greed than just an infinite OTK. So that's why we were seeing Quest Mage. But when you start to, you know, pull it back a little bit towards the aggressive and mid-range decks, which we saw come out to punish all that greed, I'd much rather be packing a Gunter Mage or Freeze Mage against the board development decks than a Quest Mage.
Okay, I agree. Just interested on your opinion, of course. Nick Chipper, you may not have heard of him too much. He's probably the least known. Well, he is the least known player on the team. Yep. But if you keep up with the competitive scene, Nick Chipper is a bit of a beast, to be honest. Pun intended. He is a Hunter master. And he's going to be rocking the deck right now as we get into game number 3. South Korea versus Ukraine, 1-1. Let's find out who's going to move ahead, as it looks like Dione is going to be playing more of a control-based Paladin and not the Murlocs we expect.
And here you see the story of the picks, right? Nick Chipper saw what he was up against and said, you know what? There's a good chance that Paladin comes out. There is a good chance that that Paladin is Murloc Paladin, and I am packing Hungry Crab in my Hunter. That's what influenced him towards the Hunter, which of course, he won't have needed too much help in coming towards a Hunter decision because he is a Hunter specialist, but it is looking like the Control Paladin coming back from South Korea. Now, how does Control Paladin do against a very sticky, death rattle heavy, mid-rangey deck these days in Hunter?
It really depends how the Control Paladin's built, to be honest, because one of the things is that we've seen Control Paladins, Raglight Lord, Forbidden Healing, stuff like that. Well, that's actually an issue. If Paladin gets that off safely and keeps the board clear with a quality conk, then well, Hunter can never catch up that well. I'll be honest, I haven't played Hunter versus Control Paladin much when you can play Deathstalker Rexar, so that does change a few things. Okay. But in general, if it is got any heals in it, then it's going to be a little bit harder, unless Nick Chipper just runs away with the game. But looking at this, Bone Mare, if this feels like it's potentially more like N'Zoth style, or just more like chunky minion base, because you probably wouldn't run Bone Mare in like a heal heavy, almost fatigue style Paladin, right? Bone Mare's there to punch people.
Bone Mare is there to punch people. It does make a massive taunt though. That is one thing you have to think about. And turn 7 into turn 8, with I was just about to say, potentially the Lich King, that's what carries you towards that turn 10 when some of your most powerful cards can come into effect because you play back-to-back taunts over coming turns.
And something that's already kind of punishing Nick here is that he could have had South Korea on 29 now. If he knew it was control, he would have played the crab on 1.
Yes.
And he's not. He's holding it purposely because he believes it is Murloc Paladin, because it is very likely to be. Let's be honest, if I was in Nick's shoes, I'd do the same. But without drawing any of the other 1-drops in the deck, held on to that Murloc. And it's going to be very interesting to see how long he does hold on to the Murloc, because right now, if you go crab into Hyena and just trade, that's actually a pretty strong turn when you've just drawn Houndmaster as well. That is representing a very awkward board. It cannot be coin consecrated because the Hyena will still have 1 health left because of the trade. And yeah, you lose your other 2 minions, but you have a Hyena.
Which
then
Houndmaster,
yeah, seems good.
Yeah.
So I would really like to see that from Nick here, just to push, because Hungry Crab's great versus Murlocs. You can't just hold on forever. And he looks like he's just said, okay, this is either the worst Murloc Paladin draw in the world, in which playing the crab now is good, or it's not Murloc Paladin, in which playing the crab now is still good.
If it's the worst Murloc Paladin draw in the world, we win anyway.
Well,
so
that's what I mean.
Play
you play it anyway.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Now, Downey does have access to double Doomsayer if he really wants. Maybe not necessarily this turn, but he could go.
How many more turns do you have before you have to start dealing with it? You have to wait until turn 5 to Equality Coin Consecrate. There could even be Death Rattle minions hitting the board before then.
What about Equality Coin Doomsayer?
And then to set up for the consecration on the
because
following
Doomsayer
turn,
will
but then
effectively heal 7.
But then you get punished enormously by Houndmaster.
I mean, I guess. I think you're gonna get punished by something.
Well, I mean, if you double Doomsayer, what are you getting punished by?
Deadly shot.
Okay. All right, sure.
You asked and I answered.
That's fair.
Okay.
All right, no, good answer.
And hunters are running deadly
answer.
shot. It's
Yeah,
not.
no.
It's not unlikely.
I'll take it.
And yeah, no surprise to be honest to see. We don't know the players' deck list. Each teams don't know each other team's deck list. These are closed and hidden. But no surprise that most successful hunter lists at the moment, at least on ladder, are going double crabs. They're going Hungry Crab and Golaka Crawler.
Yeah.
Beasts that can actually just swing you the game so hard it doesn't matter. But Nick Chipper did not have the deadly shot, and it is just going to be a clear from Downey, and he's going to be able to fall with just the Acolyte of Pain now. And
Acolyte of their lives.
this is a weak turn from Nick Chipper here.
Ugh. Do you just go back to playing board here? Like, is your kill command essential damage, or can you just use it to deny Acolyte value, develop the Galaka alongside it, curve into high main the next turn?
I think this is one of the moments you shudder to think about as a hunter, but you do aim that kill command to a minion. I think you have to. Anything you play guarantees 2 draws minimum from the Acolyte. And you don't really want that when your opponent's just cleared the board as well. You need to get in there.
So my thinking right now is, if I'm in Nick Chipper's shoes, Ukraine shoes, I want to keep the Paladin board clear for turn 5 and turn 6. Like, I want to start doing it now, so I don't have to panic about clearing the board on turn 6, because the threat that I'm talking about is Spike Ridge Steed hitting the board on 6, which is not something you have any real way of dealing with in
Bone Bear on
Hunter.
the Spike Ridge on 7.
Exactly. Unless you've teched in a cheeky Iron Beak Owl into your deck, then you're not going to find a way through Spike Ridge Steed too easily. Ukraine disagree, though, and hello, Uther of the Ebon Blade.
This is actually why I kind of love South Korea. They do different stuff with decks, right? We saw Knuckles be played in a hunter match in Global Games.
That's true.
They legitimately put Knuckles in. We saw Genzo the Shark dip in and out of their lists as well. But Uther, everyone has pretty much written off for now because Murloc's so strong. But it looks like South Korea are pretty confident he can get the work done. But going back to that turn from Nick Chipper, in his hero power play, he's doing the hunter thing and said, okay, I'm getting the most damage every single turn. I'm going to cross my fingers that he doesn't have heal and get him. And the kill command is the final kill, with Unleash as well.
Yep.
My opponent goes wide, Unleash kill command hero power is a lot of damage often.
Is it, when you make that kind of play in this position, are you shutting your eyes and saying, I probably don't beat Spike Ridge Steed, so I'm going to pretend he doesn't have it? Or are you making that plan thinking you can deal enough damage through Spike Ridge as well?
I think when you play a high main, you think you can beat Spike Ridge.
Okay.
Because it normally does beat Spike. You know, maybe plus a minion to hit the first dude, but high main on its own can kind of solo the average Spike Ridge on 6 target, unless it's Fincher.
High main on its own?
Well,
the Spike Ridge is adding 6 health, so anything.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you get like 1 additional hit on the first one, High Mage deals with 6 damage plus the second piece as well. So, and there's the hyenas.
Right. Eaglehorn Bow plays right into the plan right now for Nick Chipper, but he's going to go back to board position, make the most powerful board he can. The board clears have been used. That is back-to-back consecrations alongside 1 equality that have been thrown out for South Korea. So Nick Chipper and Ukraine now say, you know what? All right, change the plan. Back to board dominant.
Well, the idea here is, does Bow equipped plus hero power, is the 2 turns of Bow plus the kill command going to win?
No.
So you don't do it.
Right.
But is the minions this turn plus 2 more turns of Bow kill command win? Yes.
Exactly.
So you set up now. It's not that Nick Chipper's bailed out of the plan. It's just a slight deviation to make the plan work, basically. Oh, Tyrion off the Stone Hill. Something fairly common you see as a Paladin player. Although Righteous Protector in the list now actually alters the numbers
it's fallen
quite
off a little bit. I think it might even be below 20% now. It was somewhere around 27 in the Angora meta, and I think it's dropped below 1 in 5 chance to get Tyrion. It might not feel like that.
No. But Righteous Protector's a pretty good trade-off for that, because Righteous Protector's the insane card. Whew. Simple, yet effective. Just like me.
Do you even take it here? You're not going to get a lot of Ashbringer value because you are angling for that lifesteal weapon as soon as you can possibly get it in this position.
And Downey has gone for the whole don't have Deadly Shot in hand because he did pick the stock off. How much damage is it?
Oh, that's a big play.
Look at it. Okay, Nick Chipper's definitely a Hunter player. Yeah, I know this. If you didn't know, he saw that draw, rubbed his hands together like an evil genius and cackled. And
look at the reaction from Diane. Immediately rocks back in his chair, throws out the well played. He knows how big of a mess he's just got himself in with that hyena. That is now a huge game-winning threat on the board for Nick Chipper.
And this is one of the issues where, hey, Tyrion would have been okay because at least you can play it next turn. I'm not saying the Tyrion pick
I mean, you're dead through Tyrion right now. It doesn't do anything.
Sure.
Yeah.
But he doesn't know that.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
So all I mean is, if you pick Tyrion, it's a much more resilient minion that you can play next turn. Versus you kind of want to play Lich King, which is fine, but Lich King can just go down pretty hard. The Divine Shield makes a big difference.
Yeah, here's the thinking. He had Lich King already for a huge taunt on 8. He wanted to then play Uthra the Ebon Blade on 9, start healing up with the Lifesteal weapon, and then he wanted to play another big taunt after that wouldn't destruct the powerful healing that he would get from the weapon, which the Ashbringer from Tyrion would. So I totally understand his line of play, but just way too much power from that Scavenging Hyena coming out from Nick Chipper in the end.
Yeah, and this is just, just a brawl between these two teams at this point.
Flexing or stretching right now?
Both.
I can't really tell.
So good he can do both. But, Nick Chipper, just a quick nod there. Hippie saying, yeah, okay, let's do this. Ukraine go 2-1 up versus South Korea. And I said early on, like, 1, Nick Chipper is a Hunter master, and 2, Hunter, although people are putting it very low tier, gets specific jobs done. And we saw even Double Doomsayer came out. Consecrations came out. There was a weapon equipped. And still, it got there. It got enough. Imagine if there was no Doomsayers, right? The game ends about 5 turns earlier at that point. Never mind anything else. So Hunter, although might not be the best all-rounder at the moment, definitely can get certain jobs done. We're going to be moving on to the next match very quickly. Handsome guy from South Korea is going to be going up against Dr. Hippie. And who would have thunk it? Double Warlock. We're going to be seeing a Warlock mirror. What are the options here, you think, Sol?
There's many, many options. Zoo is quasi-viable again. People are having a little bit of success with it. Prince Kalaseth coming in as a 1 and only 2 drop, introducing a really, really powerful early draw to the deck. Then there's also various control Warlock strategies. We're seeing Handlock being toyed with, and we're also seeing Blood Reaver Gul'dan being used in a more demon-based deck. Blood Reaver Gul'dan, one of the most in a vacuum powerful cards in the set. Like, the amount of power that's packed into a single card is insane from Blood Reaver Gul'dan, as it should be for a 10 mana card. I would love to see many, many more super powerful 10 drops along the lines of Blood Reaver and Ultimate Infestation. Perhaps let's not give any more to Druid that can play them on turn
Druid's
4, though.
Mouth's okay.
Yeah.
He's chilling in the corner, quite happy. But yeah, we definitely going to be cool to see what comes out of these two Warlock decks.
There he is.
And well,
Suckman
they can't
himself.
see it yet. They can't see it yet. But it's going to be a Warlock mirror. We can see that it looks like South Korea is using a Blood Reaver Gul'dan. And to be honest, Duck Tippy is looking like he's using some form of, late game giant style Warlock, which makes me feel like, well, why wouldn't you put Blood Reaver in there? In case you don't know, Blood Reaver Gul'dan is the Death Knight hero for Gul'dan, of course, for Warlock. He's 10 mana and he summons all the dead demons that have died this game onto the board. But that's all right. That's pretty cool.
That's all right.
That's all right.
Yeah, all right, 5 out of 10.
But his hero power deals 3 damage to any given target and heals himself for 3. That is a 6 damage swing, and that is ridiculous.
That is capable of fatiguing decks on its
Yeah, you
own.
literally don't die.
That hero power is literally capable of killing every minion in certain decks. You just, a 6 health minion hits the board, you shoot it once, you let it tank you 1 turn, and then you shoot it again the next turn, and you just keep going from there.
And you've lost no health.
I've seen it happen, yeah.
It's quite ridiculous, but they've got to get to that turn 10. Tainted Zealot, one of my sort of underdog. I didn't think I was going to like it that much, but I actually really enjoy this card.
As soon as I saw this, I can't remember which order, whether this was revealed before Defile or the other way around, but as soon as both of those cards were revealed, straight away I said, yeah, that's getting played in the same deck. That's insane.
I love the artwork as well. I want a hat like
Tainted
that.
Zealot. It's a pretty banging hat, I've got to admit.
I'd wear one. Someone's got one. Give me a shout.
So Tri-Point, is that the name of the hat?
Sure.
Yeah.
Cool hat.
Ah,
That's what I call it.
of course. Cool hat
Like
man.
2/2 Ghoul Dude.
Yeah, exactly.
But this does look like a, maybe not exact dex, but close in style.
Yes.
And, even with, imagine we didn't see Gul'dan, I would have said this Gul'dan in this list, mainly because Infernal's in the hand for South
Correct.
Korea.
Yeah.
You get these demons back. Also a cool note, if you play Jiraxxus as well, if you play Jiraxxus first, all your 6/6s that have died that you've summoned come back as demons, because they're demons that have died. But you are maxed at 15 health as Gul'dan.
Even after Gul'dan.
Yeah, after you. So it's a bit of a tricky dance to try and work out exactly what's what, if you even run Jiraxxus.
Yeah, that is insanely greedy from my perspective. My favorite way to build
I was
this
playing
deck,
it cruel, to be fair.
My favorite way to play this deck is actually as low curve as possible. Basically, your entire deck is removal, and then you're only really playing the good demons. You're playing Voidwalker, you're playing Abyssal Enforcer, and then you are playing the 4/5 that deals 1 damage.
knew
Whose
you'd
name
forget.
escaped me.
Despicable Dreadlord.
Thank you.
I knew you'd forget.
So when just that board state alone is enough to be backbreaking in the late game, and then the rest of your deck you can dedicate to healing, spell damage, and removal spells just to make sure that you get there against the aggressive deck.
Yeah, look at this funky value the Zealots get in there. It just makes that coil hit for 2. We've all seen Thalnos coil, but when that minion can attack and still do that, that's actually pretty nice. Already, I think the story of this for Ukraine, or the story of this game so far, is going to be the Twilight Drake and how much work it can get done. But now we can see that Blast Crystal Potion's drawn. That's one that's often left out at the moment, I feel, in Warlock.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen a lot of it in the new expansion.
And
so
again,
far.
it just goes to show that South Korea, they always just do their own thing.
Right.
They might play a deck that's similar, but they will throw in just what they like, what they think is good.
Do they feel the need to react to this board? If they do, they can clear it with Defile. Perfect clear in this position, but Defile is a very, very powerful card later on when you start combining it with spell damage, and this is not a threatening board state that they're looking at.
No, they are going to take the heal from the... I forgot the name of the old card now.
Mistress
That's
of Mixture.
Mistress of Mixture, of course. But for me, it's a tough call because are you really going to get gigantic Defiles off late game in this mirror?
I mean, just with Tainted Zealot, it's insane. Like, you get the first proc going off for 2, and then because the Divine Shield sticks around, it casts again as long as you kill a first minion, and then the second time around, you kill your Tainted Zealot because it's already lost the Divine Shield, and it goes off again. Like, there's so much AoE.
They'd go for it, though. Now, Bane of Doom. It's got to have Gul'dan in, right? Ukraine's list?
I thought you meant Bane of Doom. I was like, no, you're a crazy person.
Gul'dan is not... It's probably close to being a demon at this point. Wouldn't surprise me. Next WoW expansion announced Gul'dan's a demon. I think they've already fought him,
almost certainly Ukraine are also running Blood Reaver Gul'dan in this deck.
You know, you mentioned earlier about, you know, Blood Reaver Gul'dan summons the demons. All the demons are really there for is for you to not die that next turn.
Right.
And then you start pressing that hero power.
Just Voidwalkers just tank a couple of hits, and then if you get the Dreadlords back as well, they do a half decent job of clearing the board state away when they get summoned back, and then suddenly it's just heal up, heal up, heal up. Just role-playing a succubus over and over again, each turn, stealing the life energy from everything your opponent plays.
It's like you as a caster.
What, role-playing a succubus?
Well, I was going to say stealing the energy of everyone you cast with, but if you want to talk about role-playing a succubus, then
Are you suggesting
that's
that
fine.
I have absorbed all of your talent into myself?
Yeah, and I've still got more spare. Pretty good then. We're going to see the Dread Inferno come down now. Deal the 1 damage to everything except itself on the board, and now it is getting close to contesting the Twilight Drake, especially when there's 2 mortal coils in hand for Handsome Guys. So still a good contender there, and again another minion that has never really been played that much, and then suddenly, you know, the Death Knights come out and you start to see a little bit more variation. Some of the old cards saying hello.
It is a pretty juicy Bane of Doom the way this is lined up, though. Mistress gets very playable on curve alongside that, but depending on the Bane of Doom outcome, he could find himself very vulnerable to Defile in that situation. That's something that you always have to consider. After the Twilight Drake trades, it's going to have 1 health. The Mistress will come down with 2 health, which then means any Bane of Doom outcome with 3 health or less will be a full clear for Defile, and I think that's a big reason why we see Ukraine not going for it here in this position. Defile, just as a side note, one of my absolute favorite cards in the expansion, just because of how much skill there is both in playing it and playing around it. You constantly have to consider the permutations of that card.
It's awesome as well because it's very representative of what Defile was in WoW.
Elaborate, Raven, for I have no idea.
So Defile was something the Lich King actually did to you.
Okay.
And if you stayed, like, if you were stood in it and didn't move out, it would just create more and more and more. So then the whole raid ends up stood in it and wiped. Or at least that's what I remember from Lich King. That was many years ago now, my younger WoW days. But now, also Bane of Doom can actually go face. Just a small thing to consider, because in these matchups, maybe not in this mirror, but in a lot of the matchups, the tactic versus Warlock is kill them. You just go very, very aggressive because they don't have the anti-heal bots, they don't have Reno. They have to try and get to turn 10 with Blood Reaver, Gul'dan, and then play it, and then not die, and then they stabilize. So it's a big ask. So a lot of time you can go very, very aggressive, and now this Abyssal Enforcer gonna just chill. It's a 6/6 on the board, but all these heals going off at the same time is keeping this match pretty even so far.
It is, and the Voidwalkers have now both been picked up for South Korea. That is one of the crucial check marks. Actually, my experience playing this deck, there's some matchups where you really do use the value of your individual demons to fight for the board. There's some matchups where Despicable Dreadlord is just a huge board sweep if you get it down in the right position. But there's some matchups where the demons are almost just units of mana in the same way that Murlocs used to be in any Finn Paladin. It's like at some point, I just want to get these played.
Yeah, it has to be played.
I don't mind if they get minimal value in any given position. I just want them on the board. I just want to allocate the mana to spend them so they are then available for that huge revive later on.
Yeah. It's like South Korea just going to go for the coins, go for the tap instead, and just keep that hand size full. Again, we saw how kind of wonky Twilight Drake was to deal with, and South Korea is going to be able to get one down next turn, or go for the Lich King himself. But now it always feels a little bit awkward when your opponent just slams Medivh on an empty board and you don't have that weapon removal.
Blast Crystal. You see it coming into play. We talked about it. That unique tech inclusion that we have not seen much of being utilized by South Korea here to great effect, getting a huge tempo swing against a 7/7, being able to develop Twilight Drake at the same time, which would not have been possible with Siphon Salt.
Yeah, it's strange though, because this wasn't a turn 10 Blast Crystal, so it's not like he just gains the 1 mana back and everything's even anymore.
Yeah, he's still chilling, curves into Lich King, he's fine.
Yes. But it does mean that Ukraine can potentially get Blood Reaver Gul'dan back.
Very true, very true.
And the second you get it down first, well, then the turn has to be the answer to the demons. And then you slow her again, and then the hero power starts to stack up.
You start to see a little nod towards that Bane of Doom inclusion, by the way. We did see the Medivh come down. We didn't really talk about the implications of that, but when you do have Medivh and the subsequent Atiesh available in your deck, suddenly playing a 5-mana spell, it's very similar to the Firelands Portal effect, right?
Yep.
It's a high-cost spell that already generates a beefy minion in the first place. You combine it with the Atiesh effect, you're getting an enormous amount of value out of one 5-mana card.
Yeah, it's you can actually just doubling up on minions and potentially helping remove something is insane.
Right.
As you said, the Firelands Portal effect is pretty relative. But now South Korea have to like work out a way to fight back, because suddenly instead of this health toll being roughly even, they're now like 10 health behind, and that's actually a problem when they're also a mana behind and don't have Blood Reaver Gul'dan anyway. The Voidwalkers are good as speed bumps, but I think it pretty much needs to be Drake this turn to help fight the board, to be honest. Drake, double Voidwalker.
You're not just going to slam Lich King? I'm slamming Lich King, baby. Let's go.
I guess it's Team Siphon Soul, right?
Yeah.
Like, I guess that's the bit, but it'll run 2. It worries me when you just play a minion and be like, well, if he gets Siphon, there's a huge problem. See how it works out though. Shadow Bolt, Drain Soul.
Death Grip is actually very, very useful in a control versus control kind of
True.
matchup.
+1/-1 cards.
There you go. You'll see 12 versus 13 on the hand counter right now. That will flip right on its head when that Death Grip is cast.
Yeah, in case you don't know, the Lich King gives you a, very similar to Ysera, it has a set of Lich King cards, or, Death Knight spells / weapon, or whatever we're going to end up calling them. And it gives you one every single turn. Death Grip pulls a minion from your opponent's deck and puts it and gives it to you. So it doesn't copy a minion.
Yeah.
It's not like a lot of the pre-spells or effects like that. It steals the minion. And a good way to beat Quest Mage is what I've used it for a few times.
Good way to
Steal
beat
that Antonidas.
Blood Warriors as well, as I continue to find as I was learning that deck.
Let's kick off with the Shadow Ball.
There you go, Drain Soul, Drain Soul.
It's the golden
Drain Soul,
oldie,
Bane of
isn't it?
Doom, of course, sorry. Harvest Golem. Classic.
What a throwback. Oh, another Taunt Demon. That's actually pretty big.
That's huge, actually, yeah. That is a big, big win for Dr. Hippie.
I missed Harvest Golem. It's just a good card.
It's just fun.
solid.
It's just a fundamental Hearthstone card. It's
Solid.
It's just solid, sticky, occupies the board, hangs around, deals with aggro.
Golden's pretty cool as well.
Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back, Raven.
Okay.
2 Harvest Golems in every deck from now on.
Harvest Golem Hunter.
All right, let's do it.
It's got to be a thing.
Right.
Hey, to be fair, there's Play Dead.
It's true.
Oh,
Hey.
we're building decks as we cast. 2-for-1 value going on here. This is a problem though, because I mentioned earlier that Team Ukraine could actually just started to get ahead on that health count. It means they have to be less bothered about their opponent's board now.
Right.
They can keep pressuring, and like we said, well, what's Team Korea going to do now? They're on 9 health. They have to answer the board. They can't really go aggressive. It might even end up being the Mistress of Mixtures into the Twisted Nether.
I can definitely see that, and then all our jokes about Harvest Golem aside, the fact that it is a Death Rattle minion is actually a huge, huge bonus in this position. I think that's why you're seeing the heal get passed up, because the Voidwalker actually comes down and contests the remaining damage Golem.
This is so scary though, because in another universe, Ukraine could just slam Blood Reaver this turn, and then South Korea loses. That's literally how desperate that Twisting Nether was. They just had to go for it to just stay alive. And now, how is Dr. Hippie and Team Ukraine gonna capitalize on this? And just to note as well, just looking at the cameras, like a lot of the time it looks like Kalento is saying, this is why we should do this, guys. It really looks like Kalento takes the lead with this team, especially when, he's talking to Naria quite a lot. But from what I've been watching, Kalento's very much looking at the other two, no matter who they are, saying, no, we're doing this.
And I also don't know how deliberate this is, but if you actually look at the positioning and the body language from Team Ukraine in the background, they've closed themselves in. They've kind of created a kind of semicircle shape. So it's harder for South Korea because they are very visible. They are about 10 feet from each other, and the player who is sat at the desk, in this case Handsome Guy, has direct line of sight to the players sat behind Dr. Hippie discussing. So I don't know how deliberate that is that they've closed themselves off, but you can see Kalento's body language is very much in blocking position right there.
Yep. Didn't think we'd be casting seating positions.
It's a relevant thing.
It is. I asked it yesterday, right, when we were here just checking out the set. I was like, can the player from one team see the team of the other? Like,
Yes.
yep. I was like,
absolutely can.
if I was on that bench every single turn, I'd be like, yeah! You know, just pretend we've drawn something extremely good and just freak them out. That would be so sick. Seem much more composed from Team Ukraine, though. I can't imagine Kalento saying yeah ever.
No.
No.
I can't imagine any enthusiasm coming out of Kalento in any scenario. I imagine, like, if he gets married one day, which I hope he would, hope he finds happiness eventually, they'll ask him about it. Yeah, it was all right. It was decent. Married now. Seems good.
Like, you won't even ask. Someone will ask, do you want to get married? Yeah, all right. Go on then.
Go on then.
You never know. But anyway, back to the game of Hearthstone you're all actually interested in. And South Korea and Handsome Guy is actually putting up a bit of a defense. A bit. And this is only viable because Blood Reaver's not been drawn. Or, you know, any of the big finishers haven't been drawn, right? The Twisted Nether dealt with the Medivh, but there's definitely more than one big threat in this deck.
They're 1 damage off right now, right? Hellfire, plus the 8 connecting. Mixture was with heals and back up from that position, though, so they would need something else to follow that up. Drain Soul cannot go face either.
Yeah.
Still a good Hellfire regardless, though, in this position.
I mean, you want the health, you want the Mistress gone, right?
Yeah.
Get Mistress off the board, let's deal with real health totals, team. And now, Despicable Dreadlord is
so
just
good.
a beast, yeah. They're just great. How often have you thought, I've had 1 extra damage across the whole board? And something that Lorinda brought up actually is very interesting, that it's one of the few Warlock AoE effects that isn't both ways. It's actually always just on your enemy's side, right?
Yeah,
Hellfire, you know, Demon Wrath back when it was in the pool, you know, everything like that. Twisted Nether just does what it does to your opponent to yourself. Look at this. Dreadlord Wars. And there's no way to win this turn for Dark Tippy.
There's a life tap.
Oh, yeah, that's what I mean. You'll have to go for the life tap. Coil doesn't get him there. Huh.
Korea are just going to be praying for Blood Reaver Gul'dan at this position.
This is how powerful it is, because the board isn't overran.
Yeah.
If they literally just draw Blood Reaver, they could well just win. And they have been just holding on for multiple turns at this point, and it might just be long enough. I'm surprised. Well, not surprised, because they've had a lot to do, but them not being able to just squeeze in that death grip has hurt them a little bit. Denying one of their opponents means and just gaining a minion for 2 mana of your own, almost like a 0 mana life tap at this point.
1 in 9 for South Korea here. Otherwise, it's looking very much like Ukraine are going to be going out to a much bigger lead here, although they don't have the pressure in hand that they'd be looking for in this position. That is not it. That's Despicable Dreadlord number 2.
Start with the death grip by looks things.
They're going to look for help from Ukraine's deck. That's not it.
Also, as
Blood
well,
Reaver, of course, is not a minion, by the way, so cannot be stolen from Death Grip in that scenario.
gone for the life tap. They couldn't do it. Abyssal Enforcer would have killed them, so that was effectively a dead card in hand. Dr. B, just a cheeky smile there. He just moves away from the desk, feeling pretty good about everything. And as you mentioned earlier, Handsome Guy is going to be playing again. And we know for a fact he's going to be playing Warrior, as it's the other class he didn't pick. So he just played Warlock. He's going to be playing Warrior. He's going to be going up against, I believe it was Neyria.
Neyria, stepping up to ace this match potentially for Ukraine is, would you argue with me, Raven, if I said the most consistent player of 2017 so far?
I would definitely say so, yeah, 100%.
You would argue with me?
Yes.
Okay.
I would always argue. No, I love Neyria. I think Neyria is great. Every time we've seen him, he's continued to improve, and considering he was pretty good in the first place, it's very, very impressive, and he's not afraid to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, I think there was a period where he had, and I will use the word that Twitch chat loves in its correct form, he had a lull for a while where he was not performing to his standards, but I think he came to a period, and we saw in his interviews for some of the HCT events, where he realized that he was perhaps over-practicing at one point, and now he kind of sits back, he absorbs information, he watches streams, he talks to practice partners, but he's not playing 10 hours a day. He doesn't feel like he needs to do that. He's very much on his own schedule, and it's paying out so, so big for him because he has had more success this year in the Hearthstone Championship Tour than any other player in 2017.
Yeah, it's been great to watch him perform time after time. We'll see what he can do in the playoffs that are coming up soon, but you see, Team South Korea there just Just a bit meh.
A
Very
bit
just
meh?
like-
This is your pick. You're calling them a bit meh?
No, I mean, like, they don't look like they're feeling too confident, but they are going to have a couple of minutes to get ready for this next match. So while we prepare that, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And we are getting ready to go with the next game coming up. No, that was not me. It was not subtle. This is someone from the new
It was
video.
Lothar.
It was Lothar indeed. But yeah, we are getting ready to go into the next game. We see an awesome crowd here. We haven't really mentioned it much, but you guys are filling up the place, actually. I just got told from a friend that they actually couldn't get in because there's nowhere left to sit. It's actually this busy. Everyone's round the
not
outside.
stopping them. Yeah, I'm looking around. There's people just rushing the barricades outside trying to watch some Hearthstone.
I'm not trying to incite some kind of riot, please.
Mosh pit right now. Let's go.
You make the music and it's the deal.
All right.
Okay, but yeah, we've got a crowd here. We are at Gamescom as these two teams are the first semi-finals to fight out to try and get into that finals tomorrow for the Hearthstone Global Games. It is South Korea versus Ukraine. Ukraine currently on the better end of the stick here with 3-1 lead. Best of 7 means that they need one more win to take this. It's all on South Korea to battle back now.
Yeah, 3 factors I want to step on very, very quickly. Firstly, Nyria, the man you want to ace this series down for you, the most consistent player of 2017. We spoke about that leading into the break. Secondly, South Korea, the point I made early on, I don't think they've been tested as much as the other teams that have made it here. I don't think their group stages were as difficult. I don't think their single elimination route was as difficult. But thirdly, of course, Handsome Guy is the man being trusted here to bring this all back. And we have talked, if Nyria is the HCT dominant player from the Europe region, Handsome Guy is his direct equivalent in Asia Pacific.
Yeah, he actually, last year with the 3 HCT events, Handsome Guy won 2 and got second place in 1. So he lost to Dione, his teammate, in winter, and then won spring and summer. So we obviously saw him at BlizzCon last year for the World Championships. But let's get into this game now. Game number 5. It is good old Pirate Warrior versus Pirate Warrior.
What are these new and innovative Frozen Throne decks that we are looking at right now?
Yeah, I mean, Pirate Warrior is on the cutting edge. They only came out a couple of days ago.
Would you say they're on the cusp?
You love the word cusp, it's
I
very
do.
strange. But yeah, double War Axe with this Bloodsail Raider is actually going to provide a lot of early pressure and a lot of damage from double War Axe actually. But Ukraine seem to have more of the the Zoo-style build cards, right?
Yeah, sure.
You can get the board, keep the board, and pile pressure on that way. But now with South Sea Captain, suddenly South Korea's got a pretty good push themselves. And is Ukraine going to be quick enough? If you didn't know Pirate Warrior Mirrors, it's probably going to be over in like 2 minutes. So this one's going to be a quick one.
Yeah, and it's something that I do want to touch on again. I brought it up very quickly in the intro, is that Frozen Throne has come along without a set rotation alongside it. So Ungoro came along and we saw just a plethora of new decks, new archetypes, new strategies for each class. Because it came along with a full set rotation, that meant the new cards from the Ungoro expansion weren't necessarily competing with the best the previous expansion had to offer, because a lot of them were rotating out. Frozen Throne has a much tougher job, and that's why in some of these early games so on, we've seen the Jade Druid, we've seen the Evolved Shaman, we're now seeing the Pirate Warrior. Like, it's just, there's always going to be those power decks that take 1 or 2 additional expansions to get phased out as more and more synergy cards get introduced.
Also as well, very true of the Death Knight heroes, right? Maybe in 2 expansions time, Hunter is by far the best Death Knight hero for some reason.
Right.
You know what I mean? You never know, because when cards start to compound on each other on new expansions, you don't really know what's going to happen. But back to this game, Handsome Guy, no surprise, going to drop the South Sea Captain, start piling on this pressure. And now with the addition of Heroic Strike, his game plan is very straightforward. You might say the Pirate Warrior game plan is straightforward anyway. It can actually get very tricky in weapon management, trading versus phase. Right, it can get very difficult, but now a lot of the time you have to look at your hand and say, what's it telling me to do?
Yeah.
That hand's telling South Korea and Handsome Guy to just go phase.
Yeah, that hand is telling you that you are very often playing a Fiery War Axe next turn. You're thinking about your draws, depending on the exact build. That's something that we haven't spoken about here that's actually becoming very important on Ukraine's side. The deck lists are hidden. We don't know what's in them. South Korea don't know what are in Ukraine's decks, and the other teams in the tournament don't know what's in either of these 2 players' decks, apart from what's being shown on stream. So winning a series 4-1 from Ukraine's perspective instead of 4-2 or 4-3 means they can seal more and more classes to then go through into the final.
Yeah, as a team, you want the other teams to win or lose 4-3 every single time. You see the most decks, but now, I said that Naria had more of a Zoo-style sort of build up the board and pile on the late game pressure hand, and it's true. But with that South Sea Captain, I think Handsome Guy just got enough, and Dread Corsair is only going to help. The fact that the Zos first main patch is still on the board is kind of crazy.
It's insane, right? I mean,
how much is this? What, like 6 damage between them now?
Well, 7. Patches will have attacked every turn.
Oh, sorry, yeah, of course,
yeah.
7. It's pretty good for 1 mana, plus the weapon.
Yep.
Pretty good card.
War Axe going to come through, Dread Corsair coming down alongside it, and South Korea are threatening to push over the line here. Ukraine have just had no answers. It's just been an appalling draw for them in the Pirate Warrior mirror.
Look at Naria's face, right? He's just like, well, yep. One of those games. And also, I do like the Dread Corsair coming down, because even if the board is cleared, Handsome Guy is not concerned with a Bloodsail Cultist. He doesn't need a Pirate on the board to buff a weapon. He has a second weapon and Heroic Strike. So there's normally you hold Corsair, it's like, well, this is actually a really cheap Pirate combo. Don't need to do it at this point. Just
I mean, it's very matchup dependent, right? It's tempo versus the investment of wanting a long-term weapon to clear the board. But yes, there
when
are
you've got a
lot
weapon
of scenarios where you hold on to a 1 or 0 mana Dread Corsair to get guaranteed Pirate buff value later on. This is not that spot. This is the spot where you just murder your opponent as efficiently as you can.
Yeah, and when this turn is Heroic Strike into the minion, Hero Power Path, it's not looking great. All these minions that are great minions, Naria and Team Ukraine cannot get down onto the board.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
That is 9 this turn, plus another 7 on the following turn, giving them 16 over the course of 2, and Naria cannot get out of that range.
Yeah, this is just too much. Mortal Strike often something that pushes these games over the edge, mainly because they just dodge the taunts. Like you mentioned, it's just, you can't do anything about a Mortal Strike except try and get more health than it can hit for. It's just not going to matter though.
Not a draw in the deck. I don't think Dread Corsair would be too expensive without the weapon to then armor up as well, which means Mortal Strike will just push through for the win either way. The Dread Corsair did come out as if just to taunt Neria.
Hey.
The problem with his hand this entire game has been a lack of weapons. He's had South Sea Deckhand, he had no N'Zoth's First Mate to answer this patches that's been there since the first turn. That single N'Zoth's First Mate would have activated his South Sea Deckhand, his Bloodsail Cultist, then his Captain Greenskin, and now that Dread Corsair that came out and added insult to injury right at the end.
Most importantly, how long were you working on that one?
That was off the top, mate.
Oh,
that was
really?
spontaneous.
Fair play,
Yeah.
fair play. Now, finally, these turn 1 demons from South Korea, pirate demons at that. Finally, one of them goes down. Patches it's going to be, but it just doesn't matter. There's Zakonai Reaper. It had Mortal Strike anyway. Wasn't going to work. And South Korea fight back versus Team Ukraine, making it 2-3 now in a very, very quick Pirate Warrior mirror.
Yeah, and honestly, you said that it will be over in about 2 minutes. You were right on this occasion, but actually, Pirate Warrior mirrors where the draws are equal can actually get very, very grindy. You know, like War, if both players go like Infinite War Axe, that kind of game,
yeah.
you just eliminate every single minion on both sides with the weapons and upgrades that you get, and then suddenly it becomes a late game battle for value almost. Like who draws those beefy mid game minions? Because the ability to race is so limited from both sides because your opponent is so capable of doing the same thing. But when it is one-sided like that, yeah, one team just gets them, and that's what happened for South Korea this time.
I was loving the mixture of waves or not waves from the crowd then as the camera went by. It was great. It was the odd just little... The wave I imagine you would do, just a quick...
Little what's up?
Yeah, how's it
Hey,
going?
fellas. Yeah.
And then there was full enjoyment waves that Falcone would do.
Did anyone give it the royal wrist rotation wave? Was there any of these?
No, but there's the challenge going out to all the viewers here.
All
If
right.
you do a royal
That's what I
wave,
wanna see.
Sottle will... I would say give you a hug. I don't even know if that's a
That's
punishment or
probably not going to happen.
Yeah, so well, there you go. That's how rare they are, friends.
Yeah.
But we are going to be moving on into the next game now. Kranich is going to be heading back up to the desk to pilot his Mage. It's going to be versus Dr. Hippie, who's going to be on his Paladin. So as we mentioned earlier, you look a little bit further up there, and Kranich did play his Evolved Shaman earlier on, and Mage was his other class, so it means he has to play his Mage now. No deck can be repeated. You play them all, play all the classes until a team gets to 4. But again, you know, Kranich has to win if Team Korea wants to stay in this.
That is the story in a nutshell right now. I am very, very mad at Dione for breaking up the synergy of those beautiful South Korea team shirts that they've put on. Having to rep Cloud9 to the fullest.
I'm wearing mine under my shirt, so it's fine.
The South Korea shirt? Did you take Dione's that he wasn't going to wear and you're wearing it yourself for good luck?
No, but that's a good idea. Tomorrow, when they win today,
All right.
and they'll be through.
I mean, on the other side, Ukraine have just made no effort on their part. Like, they're not even trying.
It doesn't surprise me, Ukraine.
If you want to see costume synergy and national pride, though, you wait until USA come out, because quite easily playing into the stereotype, they are some very proud gentlemen of their American roots.
Yeah, of course, Team USA versus Team Czech Republic is going to be coming up
boy.
after this series a little bit later on. But for now, we're going to get into
This
this
got real.
game. Kranich, we talked briefly about the power of Quest Mage, the popularity of Quest Mage. And here we see Kranich and Team South Korea are going to be bringing it, and Ukraine look like they are bringing Murloc Paladin. And I feel like you kind of throw the knife up and see where it lands with this one. South Korea have to land the Doomsayers, have to land the Freezes to have any chance. Murloc Paladin, believe it or not, one of the fastest decks in the game if it can curve the Murlocs out. But if the Quest Mage does just completely blow Dr. Hippie out of Murlocs here, then the Paladin often doesn't run any card draw.
Did Ukraine keep Righteous Protector with Rockpool Hunter in hand? Did they keep those two cards? Because that's actually a little strange to me.
It depends how many 1-drops they're running, right?
It does. I agree, but if there's 4, I still like looking for them.
Okay. Maybe they just want, I am playing a minion on 1, I am playing a minion on 2, because often Quest Mage cannot deal with it.
Argent Squire into River Croc, is that good enough?
Oh yeah. River Croc that evolves into a bigger Croc because of War Leader.
Sure.
I honestly, like versus Quest Mage, I do anything I can to make sure I'm hitting them every single turn, because that's how you win. If you give Quest Mage time, Quest Mage has a OTK that is guaranteed eventually.
Now they are going to have a talk about this. This is Redemption versus Eye for an Eye for me. Redemption is the tempo play to try and beat them up. Eye for an Eye is one of the few things that can interact with Quest Mage's win condition and shut it down.
Our team, South Korea, playing Disguised Toast version with the Voodoo Doctor.
Yeah.
We're gonna find out, hopefully. But yeah, that's true. If Eye for an Eye is up,
they take it.
And South Korea's at 1 health. It doesn't matter how much they could OTK their opponent. They have to hit their opponent, which then hits them in turn to game.
And in that position, it does not even matter if you have an Ice Block in play, because the Ice Block is not available to proc on your own turn.
It's really funny playing against Quest Mage, because you just ignore their minions 100% of the time.
Oh, yeah.
You literally just go face every turn.
I mean, there's a lot more situations where this is correct. I just think like Quest Mage is a very obvious one that people pick up on very quickly, but like also against like Jade Druid a lot of the time. Like, what do you ever get punished by for not trading with their minions? They don't leverage minions. They just have incrementally bigger minions over the course of the game.
Well, in the mirror you trade.
Sure.
Yeah. But in general, yeah.
Especially now Earthen Scales is less popular. There's even less reason to trade.
That's true. Now the War Leader just seems like the easy on-curve play. The Divine Shield is gone from the Protector, so he's not going to gain +1/+1 from the Rallying Blade either. Kind of a tough one. You could go Rallying Blade, but again, do you really want to trade into this, or do you just want to hit him for 4 this turn, 5 with the Protector? I like the War Leader.
I also like the War Leader. Yeah, it's very difficult to put your opponent on a good play that, you know, deals with your War Leader and also answers your board state. You know, like Frostbolt Coin Ping. Actually, thinking about it, Frostbolt Coin Ping is pretty devastating if you go War Leader here, and that is the only thing that requires from your opponent is the Frostbolt.
But then you get -1 on Quest because they use the
coin without playing it. That's very true as well.
I'm okay with this. I think this is fine. To go for the trade, which does surprise me. Maybe I'm just too aggressive. I just think, why would you ever trade? Because if your opponent pings, they're pinging on turn 3, which, fine, they do nothing. And yes, you know, like, they can go into the 3/3, but without Frostbolt, they're still not pinging and pinging again. They can't do both.
So confirmation comes through to Ukraine that they are, in fact, playing against Quest Mage. You saw just a little murmur and them all turn towards each other. Now then they got that confirmation, just adjusting their game plan to that knowledge. But this has not been the backbreaking start that they need. They did need a lot more power than this to go through. They needed to stick minions to the board early. And Frostnova Doomsayer is territory that we are marching up on very quickly for South Korea. And there are very few ways in Ukraine's deck to deal with that. It's pretty much, if it comes down on curve, have a weapon equipped already and then draw turret. That's basically the only way you do it.
Wonder if you ever play the secret to pretend it's repentance.
Sorry, you guys didn't see the pensive gesture that Raven gave me at the same time as he suggested that.
No?
That would be some next level strats.
Well, I'm all about next level strats, though.
All right.
But yeah, and you've got to go all the way back to turn 1, going off what you seriously talked about, is what if that Protector was a 1-drop Murloc?
Yep.
How much more pressure is it?
It would have been a beatdown.
Tidecaller is a very easy call.
Right.
But
because, okay, a 1-drop Murloc comes down and then gets buffed by Rockpool Hunter. You're then demanding that thing gets Frostbolted, or else it's just going to keep beating them. Yep. Then your War Leader hits the board and there's no Frostbolt anymore. Like, this deck is all about curving 1 into 2 with Murlocs. Righteous Protector is a great card, but it's a card that you can get in the late game to put Blessing of Kings on turn 5. Just drop it and slam Kings on it. That's when it becomes immensely powerful. I don't like it so much on turn 1 unless you're against another deck that is fighting for board control. It's great at breaking ties in aggro mirrors. Against a Mage, they're not going to be playing aggro against you. I don't like that key.
The odds on anyone playing Secret Mage, and even that's not like aggro because a lot of it's so spell-based. You know, even that is pretty low. Arcane Insight now coming out from a team at South Korea. Just going to try and dig into this deck. This deck is all about just dig, pretty much draw your whole deck. Then you end up with enough spells to proc the quest, and then once you have the quest procced, you go off and kill your opponent.
Kranich, of course, familiar with dig, having previously represented them.
Hashtag dig win.
Yep.
I believe it's still used commonly.
Is it? I have no idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, whenever like Chaki, Kranich, Green Cheat do anything, just hashtag dig win.
All right, yeah, I like that. I like that. That's a good meme.
Rating out of 5 would you give that meme?
At least an 8.
Great.
Yeah.
Hoarder is going to get cleaned up. Again, this trade is a little bit more straightforward because if the Loot Hoarder goes into the Megasaur and then Blizzard comes down, then you're losing minions for no fun there.
Right.
And Megasaur is actually kind of hard to deal with. But now we get to the Cold Light Oracles, and these bad boys are kind of insane. The deck has become so fast, I think, that it just doesn't matter that you're giving your opponent cards.
I
it doesn't
100%
matter.
agree.
Yeah, it's so nuts.
One point of order that I do want to cover very quickly at this position. Kranich now and South Korea now will be developing a pretty strong read on Eye for an Eye, because there was a secret that was gathered on turn 2 and has not been played. And you start to rule out each secret one by one. There's no, Getaway Coder, probably not. Redemption, probably not. They'd be using that to try and stick a board over the coming turns instead of some of these suboptimal plays that we're seeing. Once you start to get a read on Eye for an Eye, you have to start playing around it. And that means you have to protect your very first ice block. What that means is you cannot go to 1 HP and lose that first ice block, because as soon as you're in that range, Eye for an Eye locks out the game. So just the threat of an Eye for an Eye being in the hand actually completely invalidates 2 ice blocks from the game. That's the power of it in the matchup.
Also as well, you got to bear in mind that even 2 HP might not be enough, because there might not be enough mana that turn to ping.
Sure.
Because depending on what spell you have, it could get, sometimes it can just get a little bit tricky where you have to aim something or do some damage.
You can almost always find a way to wait though, right? As long as there's no way for them to get you from 2 to 1, then you
well, that's
can
the
just
tricky
chill.
part. Yeah, exactly. If there's any way, like, it can go freeze the board on anything higher than 3, freeze the board, go, then that's the good scenario, because you're not consecratable, you're not
in a
propped,
way,
anything
being
like
at
that.
2 is actually better than being at 3, because consecration doesn't then put you at 1, it leaves you at 2. As weird as that
It gets
sounds,
really tricky
that
if you've
is
noticed.
correct.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Okay, finally Valve and Inquisitor drawn. A bit late in the game. There's Spyrich Dude on the Golaka Crawler now. Now it's not going to be down to South Korea and Kranich to work out exactly how they're going to deal with it. But look at this. This is what's so scary about this deck, and Freeze in general. But there's 2 Blizzards there already. That's 2 whole turns where Ukraine does nothing.
Right.
Nothing. If Kranich wants, but Kranich got to work out whether he wants to take damage or not. Ice Block is not equipped. Ice Barrier is not equipped. There is nothing. He just has 12 health. There's 1 Molten Reflection. I wonder if he's playing Simulacrum.
Was
Was that funny?
you just kind of like, it just kind of fell out of your mouth as opposed to you saying it. It was just very weird, the way you said that word.
Take that as a compliment.
Molten Reflection is almost just strictly bad for this deck, in my opinion, because it's...
People run 1, right?
Right, it can be used at 1 just to really, like, increase your options, which I'm fine with. I think that's an argument that I have pushed quite a lot.
Beats
like,
dirty rat.
Right, when a card comes out and you say, well, I'd never play this because it's worse than Mana Worm. Well, sometimes you'd like 3 or 4 Mana Worms in your deck, right? So redundancy helps. And redundancy is why you would play a Simulacrum if it's going to go for that route. But it's not been seen in 100% of the list so far.
Yeah, you definitely don't have to play it. I mean, there's even the Mukla lists, right? Which is completely
the old
different.
Rage list, basically, yeah.
Also, as well, funnily enough, Kalento was actually streaming Quest Mage about a few days ago before this event, so he's reasonably familiar with this deck himself. I'm not obviously can't speak for the whole of Team Ukraine, but he has been playing at pretty high legend, so he knows what's up here.
Rallying Blade just going downtown.
Nova. Oh, Nova.
I think it's Blizzard time though. Just use the more expensive option.
100% I agree. I just mean it's another freeze.
Right.
Another turn that Kranich can effectively buy, because still at 9, yeah, he goes to 6 after the Rallying Blade swing. Great, 6 doesn't want.
Does he need to ping this turn, does Kranich, or can he squeeze in Primordial Glyph? That's my question. He's going to go Doomsayer instead. That's very interesting. Doomsayer.
Why would he even want to ping?
But he could have pinged the War Leader instead of playing the Doomsayer,
Sure.
or he could have played Primordial Glyph. This isn't like a perfect Doomsayer by any means, because the Death Rattle is still there on the Spike Ridge team.
I guess he's not bothered about the attack, right? He knows he's going to freeze next turn.
Yep.
He's probably thinking, well, look, there are 11 cards. He can guarantee draw 2. Now he can draw 4 of them. He draws a 5th next turn. There are no cards left at that point. Still only has 1 Sorcerer's Apprentice.
I think you'll find
and
there are
Tinnitus.
6 cards left at that point.
5.
If he draws 5 from 11, you said 5.
But then the natural draw from
One more
turn.
than 6.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
One tome in hand now.
And
Some decks run 2, some decks run 1.
They do.
So it's actually quite important.
And the key point about Tome is that you can go off and complete your quest in one turn. Like you can
From
be
like
at,
one
Yeah, you
tap,
can be
yeah.
at like 2 out of 6 or 3 out of 6, and then just have your Apprentice, Molten Reflection, whatever it is, turn, and then just cast Kabbalist Tome on the same turn. And if you end up with anything that costs below 4 mana, you can just throw that out and finish the quest.
I actually really like Frostbolt. He can Frostbolt instead of Nova this turn. Takes 0 damage.
Was he even considering Nova this turn?
No, I just, okay, it's just an example, but I mean, like, you could just Frostbolt and use it as a Frost Nova because the board's not wide.
Sure.
Right? So it can buy you even more time. Did go for the double secrets, though. So now there is Counterspell and Ice Block up, I believe.
So he needed a way here to beat Blessing of Kings. That is the thing that popped him in this situation. So Counterspell, like Frostbolt would have done it as well.
Yeah, I was going to say,
but
like
Counterspell is just another answer to stop that from happening, and there aren't too many high-value spells in this deck. And remember the point I made 4 or 5 turns ago. There is a card they are pretty sure they need to play around here, and that is Eye for an Eye, which again leans towards Counterspell being a great pick.
Yep, does edge out Frostbolt there. Another Glyph is actually pretty nice, but I do... Okay. Is Kranich, Team South Korea, at the point where Cold Light doesn't matter? In terms of playing it is fine. Because what they're doing at the moment, they're holding off on Cold Light, because one, they have the Drew Arcane Intellect, which is just better. But also, Ukraine are on a low amount of cards. They're effectively on 1 card from the deck.
Ooh, that is not what you're looking for.
They're effectively on 1 card from the deck because they know one's a secret. If they Cold Light, it gives Ukraine more options. But if they Cold Light, they're pretty much going to win because they draw the deck, right?
Right.
Like, I'm wondering how long South Korea wait because these options aren't exactly great. You know, like the Tome for full mana, now another pick here. It's not as cheap as it could be if they use the Tome in the combo. It's a tough one.
And it was a really terrible Kabbalist Tome. The actual text on the cards is actually borderline irrelevant in a lot of situations.
Yeah, it's the mana.
You just want them to be as cheap as possible, and they got 21 mana's worth of stuff out of their Kabbalist Tome. Not what they are looking for at all.
Might be able to Glacial Mysteries a 1 Ice Barrier in the deck.
Hey, it might happen.
Game that's thick, sweet, plus 8 health. Okay, well, you know, again, this is what I said pretty early on, actually, that the Quest Mage gets to the point where they just freeze, dead. And that's just the game, and we might see that happen right now. Arcanologist, not the best draw unless there's a barrier, but barrier without a freeze is on this many minions suddenly. Oh, it's not too bad, actually. Counterspell.
Small point of order. I do want to talk about the counterspell again very quickly, because you might just say, why is Dr. Hippie not just throwing this Consecration out? Why are Ukraine not just dealing with what they're fairly sure is a counterspell by now as soon as they can? Well, the answer to that is they can then play a second counterspell, can South Korea, and then Ukraine are stuck in a position where their Eye for an Eye isn't usable again. So Ukraine are very much looking for the spot where they can consecrate, use that to break the counterspell,
and
get South Korea to 1 HP, and then drop the Eye for an Eye immediately before a second counterspell comes down.
Those are a little bit better.
That was a slight improvement, yeah.
Merry Christmas, everyone. As there's approximately 1 million secrets in play for Kranich, and he didn't even play the mysteries either. So does now have the quest done. So this is not going to be a Quest Mage game where you see the quest procced and used and then comboed in the same turn.
So what do we have up right now? We have Counterspell, Ice Block, Vaporize, and
Ice Barrier.
Ice Barrier, right.
Yeah. Tyrion, again, it's just slow. This is the problem of the Blizzard, the Frost Nova. It's just like you buy so much time and there's so much draw in the deck. It's very difficult indeed. You wonder now how possible he's just not doing a crazy combo. Just using Time Warp. How far just Time Warp gets you as Kranich.
Counterspell does go down. The Ice Barrier here is going to be the crucial thing, because without the barrier, without the defensive secrets, the barrier and the Vaporize, we would be in that scenario where we'd be down to 1 and then Eye for an Eye was coming down, and I think that's the hope that Ukraine had. But with 4 secrets in play, it seems monumentally unlikely that this was going to be the case.
It would have to be, what, Mana Bind instead of Barrier, and all the others, exactly, for it that not to be Barrier. So I think there's only Mana Bind that wasn't around. Frozen Clone.
Frozen Clone as well, yeah. And Spellbender.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, quickly. Stop hitting me with logic, Sol.
There's a lot of Mage secrets.
There's more than I thought, actually.
Yeah.
I was like, duplicate's gone, right?
Yeah, right.
This is a problem now for Ukraine.
There it is.
Simulacrum.
It does just kind of tumble out of your mouth. It sounds like it's an accident.
Happy little
Exactly.
simulacrum accident.
Exactly. There you see the reward for the quest, an entire extra turn of your blessings. And what they do with that turn is that they make a whole bunch of Sorcerer's Apprentices and then take their extra turn, drop Antonidas, trigger a fireball, and that is an infinite fireball chain for, let's say, unlimited damage. Although,
It's actually not.
we are discovering that there is a cap just purely based on the maximum APM that you can throw those fireballs out, which is somewhere just north of 200 damage.
Yep. If, say, a warrior could armor up to, say, 400 armor, they would actually not die to that OTK combo.
Correct.
If we see that at some point, maybe, maybe not, we'll find out.
And look at that celebration from Ukraine. We're not dead! Hooray! We get to play more Hearthstone.
Well, they're all in on this Hyper and I.
Yep.
They think if they're not dead, well, we can put them low. And I'm actually surprised that South Korea didn't just start with his Murloc.
Cold Light Oracle, it wouldn't allow them to get through the turn into the Time Warp anyway, though.
Oh, well, I completely agree. I'm just thinking, what if Antonidas is low?
Sure.
You know, like,
Oh my god, the Tarim is game-ending.
that lines up.
South Korea
like a
is
dream.
at 10. 3 attacks of 3 gets the job done, and then eye for an eye. Wow. That could be the draw that puts Ukraine into the Hearthstone Global Games finals.
That's actually nuts. That damage lines up perfectly to set to 1, which is absolutely insane here. And honestly, I feel like South Korea were a little bit slow on the draws there. This Cold Light Oracle is extremely powerful, and would they have got through their deck that much more quicker if they just played
Watch
it?
the faces of South Korea as the secret comes into play here. There's the eye for an eye comes down. We'll learn a lot about how much they expect it. Resigned already.
Yeah.
Yes, they know. They know exactly what that secret is, and they know they are now in a huge, huge mess.
Yes. I was looking for any possible way out, but unless they are literally going to Cold Light into a Voodoo Doctor and still somehow proc the quest, nope, it's not going to be there. And we see the choice from the secret so early in the game. Team Ukraine knew exactly what they wanted to do, how they wanted to win this game, and they executed it very, very well indeed. And there's frankly, I mean, we're going to see now what South Korea has left in the deck. And now maybe they're just...
There's a Kodo that could have farmed either of the Doomsayers that have hit this game.
That's nuts. You know what is interesting though?
Go on.
This might be a final dig at Ukraine, because now Ukraine's opponents know there's a Kodo in the Paladin list.
That's
They're
very
just
true,
making
yeah.
them draw cards and be
Right.
like, you know what, you might beat us,
Punish.
but we'll have our final laugh at some point. The second ice block gets proc. Tyrion's going to come down and say hello. Not that it matters too much. And again, looking at the cards in hand, looking at only 3 cards left, 2 after this draw, I'm pretty sure there's no way out here for South
They
Korea.
just have to go. They just
Yep.
have to pray that this somehow is not eye for an eye, but they will get the news very, very soon that they are locked out of this game. Dr. Hippie and Ukraine have created a checkmate situation here, and Ukraine, perhaps the favorites for this whole tournament, coming into week number 1 of this tournament,
Yep.
are still alive and kicking on week number 16 and in the grand finals.
Yeah, and we get to see what happens with the quest anyway. This is what the combo normally looks like. Antonidas now goes down with 4 Sorcerer's Apprentices on the board. Your fireballs become free. Antonidas gives you unlimited fireballs every time you cast a spell. That adds up to a lot, in my professional opinion, of damage. And here we go. Is he going to kill all the minions? No, he didn't. He hit face, right? And that's going to be it. He does go for the face. He had to go for it for Team Korea, but it wasn't enough. And Ukraine take the first semi-finals here, and are going to be moving straight on to the finals tomorrow against the victors of the next match we've got coming up. Very, very solid performance from Ukraine.
And I, one more time, want to say that I felt like one of these teams had a rougher road to get here. The team that have been challenged, the team that have been battle-hardened the whole way through this were Ukraine. Don't want to take anything away from South Korea. The names on their team speak for themselves. They are phenomenal players. But when they've come up against the big boys, the Netherlands and now Ukraine, they have just fallen short of passing that test. And maybe that's why they're going home with a 3rd and 4th place and why we're seeing Ukraine going to grand final.
Yeah, absolutely amazing match. But let's head over to the stage with Rachel to have some words with Nyria.
Thank you so much, Nyria. What an impressive match. You're smiling. I love to see that. Talk to me about how your team is feeling right now.
We feel amazing. It was pretty cool to see each other like in real life when we are talking. Yeah.
And do you all get along on the communication level?
Yeah, kind of. Like, we are pretty good at communication, all of us.
Well, so now I have to ask you the tough question, because South Korea won 2 matches, and both of them were against you. So tell me what happened here.
So we have a tradition. In previous matches, when Dr. Hippie loses, we always win. So I'm ready to lose every game if he'll win again.
That is a beautiful and selfless sentiment, Nyria. Congratulations to you and your team. We'll be seeing you in the finals tomorrow. But for now, I'm going to give it back to our casters for a little bit of a match breakdown.
Thanks a lot, Rachel. That match was awesome. You know, it's a little bit upsetting for me. I really wanted to see South Korea get to the finals and potentially win it all. But, you know, Ukraine, they're a powerhouse of a team, and you can't really argue with that. They had even the rough matchups that they did have, the Pirate Warrior matchup, they just got stomped.
Yeah.
You know, even the Mage not really, performing too well. But in the end, we can see how it played out now. Off to a pretty decent start, going 2-1 up in the first 3 games. But then, South Korea did start to fight back, just wasn't quite enough for them.
Yeah, and I think my pick was Russia, cards on the table for this tournament. They did not make it, but my decision to be made early on was between Ukraine and Russia. Ukraine were going to be my second pick, and when people asked me, okay, now we're down to these final 4 teams, who are you picking? I said Ukraine in a heartbeat, because the names that you have on there are incredible, and they're all also in form, right? Like,
yes.
Kalento has had ups and downs with competitive Hearthstone, same with Nyria, but they are all on massive streaks right now that are just showing their dominance as players. And I think Ukraine, it'd be hard-pressed not to call them the favorites for this entire thing.
Yeah, I agree. I think, you can look at some of the other teams. The deck building from Sivka, for example, is extremely powerful. But Ukraine have just got it all. We can see how the flavor of this series went overall, all the way back when of that Druid mirror we kicked off the series.
And you saw game 1, the ultimate, the infestation, the UI, whatever you want to call it, Raven. It was the difference maker in this matchup, because as you see, one team cast it, the other team did not, and it was a 5-0 essentially card deficit at the end. The ultimate infestation really doing the brunt of the work in that matchup for Ukraine.
Yeah, and then we saw, Kranich play the Evolve Shaman, and to be honest, a lot of his Evolves were pretty lackluster, and it did end up getting there, though, with the with the Evolves going through, and it just wasn't quite enough there for Nyria, as he did lose that game.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the talk about Desir Thrall coming in is that losing the totem was too much of a detriment. Did Korea look like they needed totems in that matchup? No, they did not. They just kept making huge minions with the hero power that they do have. It's an incredibly powerful effect, and I think we'll be seeing a lot more of that particular hero card in the coming weeks.
Yeah, we saw a matchup we didn't really expect too much, which is the, Control Warlock mirror. We'll call it that for now, because why not? But, what...
Suckman mirror.
Suckman mirror,
yeah.
Okay. South Korea, held on for quite a long time, but they were always just a Blood Reaver Gul'dan away from being able to fling the match back round again and use that hero power to claw themselves back in. Wasn't quite meant to be, even with the twisting. Didn't really get there. It was a tough one, that one for South Korea, I think.
It was, and you saw there, you called that at the time a desperation nether, which it was. They didn't want to use it in that position. They had no other option to stay alive. And it was desperation for every turn past that as well. Coming down to the ultimate turn, where Handsome Guy just had to use Death Grip to try and dig for an answer from Ukraine's deck and did not find it.
So you're coming down to the ultimate turn where he just life-tapped himself to death. And it's like, well, I guess. And then we saw, there you go, it went as quick as that was. The Pirate Warrior mirror just whoop, gone.
You love to see that.
Yeah, just a quick, push there from Team South Korea. But as we just saw, one single choice really pushed Team Ukraine up to this victory. They needed to win one game in this series for quite a while, and that secret usage and timing was on point.
Sorry, we just held hands for a moment.
Yeah,
It is right when the camera
casual
cut back
high five.
on as well. You're getting a little glimpse behind the curtain of what goes on with me and Raven when you can't see us. But that decision early on with the eye for an eye over the redemption is a much, much bigger deal than you might even think it is, because a lot of people will just think, yeah, obviously you take for an eye for an eye. I know how this works. It locks out ice block. 100% I take that. But without the redemption, you're in danger of not sticking a board to be able to get to that point where you put them to 1
It's a hard call
HP.
to make turn 2 of the game.
Exactly.
Right?
And
Very
how
hard.
close were Ukraine to not getting over that line and being able to do the necessary points of damage?
But they did make it, and as you saw, this was the first semi-finals of the day. We've got the second one coming up right after this. It's going to be just as good, I am sure, as that was an amazing match. So as we said, we're going to be finding out who's going to be joining Team Ukraine in the finals tomorrow, right after this.